All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the PNWild podcast. Uh, this is your standard host now, Zach, down here in the South End studio. We're joined by yet another guest on the podcast this week. It's someone that you guys haven't heard from maybe ever. Brand new to the podcast. We are going to dive into all things Washington regulations right now because they just came out today. We're going to talk about the Washington regs, the new cost updates, and some interesting numbers that we've kind of been looking over the last little bit. That guest is none other than Jeff Roberts of PNWild.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here on the show. I've been a big follower for a long time. Just been checking my email daily, waiting for the invite. So I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, just really happy you could carve out a little bit of time in your busy schedule to grace us with your presence, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
hey, man.
doing it.
I had to pencil you in. It was a tight sketch. I got teaching and coaching, and you just molding the minds of the next generation of young flag footballers, volleyballers, Boeing employees. Just I'm out there just throwing touchdowns left and right.
It's terrifying.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
we
talk
haven't
about
done
that.
like a Zoom one with us. Like I don't know if we've ever done this, maybe just one other time.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's pretty funny.
It is weird, but hey, times are tough, man. You got to just make it happen, you
Yeah,
know?
got to make it work.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got the regs came out to it was pretty crazy timing. The regs came out today and multi-season deer and elk results came out in the same day. It's almost like Washington like got some things kind of together and like coordinated a little like info dump out there. So that was kind of nice. I of course did not draw anything in multi-season. But Jeff,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, big
It,
winner over there.
they gave the multi season out of me and you, Zach, who could bench press the most.
Yeah, I think they gave it to the guy who they think needs the help the most.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Report. Officer down. Oh, that's good shit right there. Yeah, I do. I did end up drawing multi deer with two. And then, so I'm excited about that. And then we have a solid W in some of the regs, Zach. We went over
Uh-huh.
numbers, and the Yakima Elk Herd did trend upward in tag allocations and permits allotted this year. And so that's exciting. We've over the past couple years, every time the regs come out and the proposals come out, we're just constant group chat, just really hammering what the hell is going on with the Yakima herd or the biologist or what they're seeing and not relaying to us. But we're not back to the numbers that you and I drew in
Mm-hmm.
back in 2016 and 17, but it is like you said, it is a W. We in the group chat we just say, hey, we got to take the wins where we can. And substantial upturn in permits, especially for the bull category, which is nice. Quality was a minor. I mean, not minor. I mean, what they 6x'd it, 8x'd the quality tags. It went from
Mm-hmm.
2 to 4 to 18 and 22. So yeah, we got some substantial tags there increased in the Yakima elk herd. And then the bull tag category had some incline. Another sad one though. I did look at the quality deer and buck deer for Sinlahegan. That was hammered pretty good there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what they're seeing. Maybe the quality is going off the whitetails also, which is strange to me. But yeah, the Sinlahegan Unit 215 quality was decreased by 10, and the or no 5, and then the buck category was decreased by 10, which it went from 20 down to 10, and then quality was reduced, I think, from 10 to 5. We'll go
I'm
look at it right
scrolling right now. Yeah.
now.
Going to look.
Yeah.
So quality Sin Lahican is down to 5.
Yeah, from 10, I believe.
Yep.
Maybe even 15. I want to say 10 though.
Yeah. And then the buck is down to 10. So those are new updated numbers. The pogue is also down to 5 for the buck tag. And the big one that I noticed, this is like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
What I grew up doing was that whitetail deer hunt down in the Colfax, Palouse area, and they have a Palouse whitetail buck tag that's November 7th through the 19th. And it was always it encompasses, a bunch of GMUs, so it's a big area. So it was always 300 permits. It's all the way down to 100.
Wow.
So they cut that one by 200 because I'm gotta guess like the blue tongue and those EHD things in the last couple of years have just like hammered that deer herd down there, and so they've cut that buck tag down to 100.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we found out last year in Idaho too. Is kind of talking to locals right across the border in from Washington, that it was bad. Like Unit 8 and 8A and some of the
Mm-hmm.
Southern 6 got really really bad. EHD or blue tongue, one of those two. And then this year, a lot of those tags were turned back from people just turning back whitetail tags in those specific units. So yeah, they're hurting. And it's clearly that Washington is seeing that and reducing tags. Just sad, man. That's the one thing that whitetails are super fragile and susceptible to. It seems like in every other category, they're just way more hardier and can stand outlast mule deer and just way more adaptable. But
Mm-hmm.
like it's obviously life is water and water is life. That is the one like the one downfall to the whitetails is that they spread that disease like no other because they share some of the same community water sources in those low lands in the summertime. And
Mm-hmm.
those other water holes dry up and creeks dry up. They all go to the one, and that just it hammers them.
Mm-hmm.
Super sad.
Yeah, it is super sad. And like you said, that's kind of, other than, you're starting to see CWD and stuff, but really that blue tongue, EHD, those two things just really hammer because it can be very localized, so like you can have like one valley, one drainage, one area that just gets obliterated by blue tongue or by EHD over the course of, they pick it up in the summer, late summer, early fall, and then it affects them so massively that it can wipe out damn near an entire herd, in that localized area. And so I think when you see that localized damage done and then it spreads and it's like, okay, now this creek and now this one and now this little drainage, it's a brutal thing. Like I do think that whitetails, make it through winter a lot easier than mule deer do, just based on where they live and kind of they'll just go down to the ag and
Yeah.
river bottoms and stuff like that. But that is that one disease. The good thing about whitetails though is they bounce back quick as well. They bounce back way quicker than mule deer do. Yeah, it's tough, but it's sad to see. We know that blue tongue's been a big issue the last few years, and growing up doing that hunt, we would see it cycle through, but it seems more and more prevalent, kind of now than when I was a kid going over there every single year. Like we didn't see it this often. We didn't see it this bad. So this is kind of a new real bad one that does pop up.
Yeah, man, it is. And just kind of working through some of those trials and tribulations, I guess, of just managing deer herds and elk herds and stuff like that. But for the last couple of years, we've just been, I don't know if it's just more so that, we have kids and families we want to pass stuff down to and continuing it. And then the spring bear thing, and then now the fall bear thing, and kind of just Colorado and cougars and everything. It just seems like we're way more tuned in to
Mm-hmm.
like what's going on in Washington and typically just, you know, when we first started this whole thing, I can't believe this, but this is year 10, PNWild. We started
Yep.
2016 was my quality tag, which kind of kicked this off. So you and I are coming up on our anniversary in here in June. Where are we going?
I don't know. Hopefully Colorado or New Mexico or somewhere.
Yeah, I want to say like the first time we met was like June of 2016. So this June, 10 years, sweetheart.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about, man.
We
But
can go, we can go to Safeway for old time's sake.
go hang out in Issaquah Safeway Park. Oh man, that's funny, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go ahead and start diving into some stuff here. We got can you see me here? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of want to preface this too is like, are by no means biologists.
Right.
We spend a lot of time in the woods. We talk to a lot of people that spend a lot of time in the woods. And this is just kind of going off of what we've seen, what we believe, kind of like Jeff alluded to, like what's happened with spring bear and the attack on fall bear, the attack on cougars, like all these little things that have, as you guys know, have added to a lot of distrust between the hunters and the game commission.
Yeah.
And the game commission ultimately is the ones who set these limits and the seasons and all of that stuff. So this is just kind of our, I guess, initial reaction to what we're seeing here in the big game regulations for 2026, along with some numbers that we've pulled up, like Jeff was talking about at the beginning with the Yakima Elk Herd in particular, because we've seen a really steady and sharp decrease in tags over the last handful of years in that herd. And now we've finally seen some come back this year. And so this is kind of our reaction into looking into those numbers, herd objective levels, herd numbers, tags, and so on and so forth. So we had a spirited debate, kind of going back and forth in the group chat today. And it I guess not even really debate. It's just talking things through and, like playing a little bit of devil's advocate, trying to see those numbers through the lens of not us and seeing just the numbers for what they are and trying to figure out how these people are coming to these conclusions.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're going to dive into, and you guys can kind of make your own thought process when you hear what we have to say. And like I just released that podcast this morning, going over stuff with the Conservation Coalition. That's another hot button thing. We got the big meeting here coming up on Friday and Saturday, and I know the wolf numbers are a big topic, and cougar stuff is, constantly under attack, and same with bears. And so,
and kind of like what Zach was saying, just to tee off on it or pair off on this, is like, yeah, this is kind of just Zach and I. We have a decade of PNWild, and then I mean, between us, we have 4 decades of just being hunters and anglers in Washington State. 5 decades, if you will. You probably started at 10 younger. I started in the field at 10 and younger. So yeah, we got 40, 50 years of just being in the woods and just kind of seeing it and watching our state change and our opportunities change, and lately our opportunities getting taken away. So this is kind of our knee-jerk reaction to the regulations coming out. And then Zach and I just kind of talking through this as passionate hunters and anglers. By no means are we saying that the numbers and the charts that we're going to show you today, I don't know. Obviously, I'm getting it off of ChatGPT, going to the source codes and seeing the sources, looking at graphs and charts, and kind of just saying it by then. If they are skewed numbers, don't hang me out to dry. I'm doing the best that I can to look up the data and the information that is given to us through AI, and then I go to the source and looking at these charts and graphs. I believe they're accurate. If they're not, shoot us an email. We'd love to see the accurate numbers. Zach and I are just going to talk through it. Have fun, have a conversation like we're around a campfire, and just kind of communicating. It is interesting to our three group chat with Bob, Zach, and I. We send this stuff. We're always talking and BSing and stuff, and we all three typically have pretty different opinions throughout all of it. Zach's definitely more of the like every glass is half full, not half empty. I'm more sky is falling, and Bob's right in the middle sometimes. So it's like we have three different types of reactions, three different personalities, three different opinions, and it's good and honestly fun and good for us to kind of see all three of them. And then Zach was like, "Hey, let's record a podcast tonight. Let's talk about this exact same thing, and then just get conversation started about it and get more people." That's the biggest thing, is getting more people to pay attention to these things, conversate about these things, and communicate about these types of things that are happening in our state. And yeah, just right off the bat, if you look at the cover of the regulations, I'm a huge fan of this cover. There's a lot of stuff going on in this cover that is really, really neat to me. Like at the bottom, you have a black bear harvested and a father and son standing next to it.
I met that guy at the Black Bear Bonanza on Saturday. He came up and he told with his kid and told me that their picture was going to be on the cover.
That's super sick, man. It's awesome. Not only is it a father and son, but it's a bear, right?
Yeah. So, when he told me that, I was like, that's a bold statement for them,
Exactly. Yeah. So when I first saw that, I was like, man, this cover is really cool. there's a lot of kids incorporated in this cover. You have
Mm-hmm.
the three kids front and center holding that beautiful muley buck, and then you got off to the left you have two kids in the orange beanies, and then the bottom
Mm-hmm.
you have that kid with his dad with the bear, and then you have a ram, you have a nice bull, you got a blacktail buck, a bull moose. Like it's just a lot of stuff going on, and I think that's a lot what we need to remember is that Washington it has great opportunity and we need to be involved and protect it and speak up and go to these meetings and protect our way of life. Fortunately, it seems like unfortunately, it seems like they are kind of gunning after it. But let's work through the regs and kind of talk about the different things that we're seeing. We kind of mentioned it at the very beginning that we kind of wanted to focus a little bit on the Yakima Elk Herd. I don't think we need to skip right to them right now. But as we work through, obviously deer's up first, and we can talk about those quality numbers. And also too, like we don't want to just make this about the numbers and what we're seeing here, but also just like how Zach and I look at the regulations and apply for stuff. It is
Yeah.
application season. The regulations are now out, and we can use these to now go ahead and apply for the units or the units and the hunts that we like to apply for. So the regs is the last big piece before you start piecing all that stuff together. I haven't even gone and looked. I'm waiting for the initial reaction for the goats. I'm interested to see what happened with the goats. That Baker herd, are we hunting them again? I don't know what's going on. I haven't looked at them. Zach shaking
I,
his head. Oh, dang it. He cheated. He
yep.
went ahead.
Yep.
I didn't see fall bear season. I'm hoping fall bear season does not say September 15th. I doubt it does, but I'm assuming that the Okanagan is still April 15th, which not stoked about, but we'll work our way through it. So when we open up the regs, I typically just go to the deer portion. I'm going to click on some of these pages and just see, making sure nothing's popping up. I mean, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, Zach, go ahead, jump in.
I was going to say, I think before we get to like the deer and the animal categories, we need to start with the cost.
Oh my God. That's a
Like,
conversation.
yeah, I think that's where we need to start because it pops up right, right at the beginning there. It's early in the regs, and I'm looking at 2025s right now. And
Right.
I believe that it's the same this year as it was in 2025 post July 1.
Yes. Yes.
And it is shocking
Yeah.
what we come to. And I believe that the other thing that went up is the multi-season.
It absolutely did. It went from 137, I think, to 197.
Yeah, because last year it shows as a resident. That's just application. So where does it show? Oh, there's the multi-season deer tag. So this year, or in after July 1 of last year, so last year and now this year, the multi-season deer tag is 191.77.
Mm.
The multi-season elk tag is 250.97.
Jesus Christ. As a resident, man.
As a resident, and even like the second deer tag. So like if you were fortunate enough to draw one of those second deer tag doe tags, it's
Yeah.
68.48 on top of everything else.
Yeah. I have
So
it
you're
right.
paying another $70 just to go shoot a doe on your second deer tag that you had to buy an application for
Yeah.
and then draw. So yeah, those costs, yeah, they did not change from last year because there's no red on this page. That's how you can see if you're new to the regs
Yeah.
and you're going and looking through it, you'll see red anywhere that's new. And so that's kind of the stuff that you'll want to look for. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at the Get Outdoors package, which is kind of what we always do. And
Yep.
it gives you, your fresh saltwater fishing, deer,
Yeah.
elk, bear, cougar, your
Discover
discounted,
pass.
yep, your discounted small game. And then you get your deer, elk, bear, cougar tags with it, 2 turkey tags, migratory birds, migratory bird authorization, et cetera, et cetera. You get all that stuff, $328.54, which as a total, like if I'm getting to do everything, it's not absolutely awful. It's not great by any means. I don't like it, but it's not. I at least get to do everything. I'm doing, I'm fishing, salt, freshwater. I'm crabbing. I'm doing waterfowl. I'm doing upland. I'm doing all the things. So I can at least wrap my head around that cost. But still, as a resident, man, is that brutal.
Yeah, dude. That's
Let's see what 2024 was. So what it jumped from.
119 for the no get out
No,
was 236.
236. So it jumped almost $100.
Yep, to 328.
Yep.
So just that's 100. The multi-season deer tag's about 70 more.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, a big difference, man. When you start
Yeah.
adding up these little things and then the applications we apply for like 10 different applications. Those applications went from 12 to 19. It's just yeah, it adds up, man. It adds up.
Yeah, I mean, a special hunt permit application right there in 2024 was 710.
Wow.
And now that special hunt permit application is 961. And then the quality is up to 1872.
Yep, and it used to be 13.
Yep. So you start adding all those up. Yeah, like 910 to or 710 to $9. It's not a giant jump, but you start putting in what your checkout total had 29 items in it.
Yeah, dude.
So you start adding up, $3-4 more here and there,
Yep.
10, 15 times, you're seeing a substantial increase. And I think the point that you brought up in the group chat earlier that I think is so spot on and so important is if you're a new hunter trying to get into this, hunting is there's already a large barrier of entry when it comes to knowledge, skill set, and gear. The cost of gear, and now not only that, but now your cost of tags just to go hunting is so overwhelming for so many people, whether you're new to it or shit, you got to have a real damn good job to be able to afford all this stuff, especially if you're a full family.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's the scary part.
It is.
When
It's
I
just
have
brutal.
a young family that, I'd love to continue applying stuff for, it's like, man, which kid's not going to apply for everything? Or,
Yeah.
it's like, gosh, dang it. Yeah, here they are side by side. If you could see them, I'll leave that here while we conversate a little bit. But yeah, I think that's the initial one that came to mind when this increase happened. Was like, man, like now it's not just going to be like a knowledge barrier of entry. It's, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like the Patrick's. Patrick was very open about getting into hunting at 29 years old
Mm-hmm.
and just jumping into it. Now, if that was a $760 barrier of entry, how do you talk that into, your significant other? Like, hey, I'm going to drop $800 just to try something out.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go. And you
Mm-hmm.
like, what tags do I need? And you look at it and you're like, get outdoors is $330. I've never done any of this before. I'm going to spend $330 before I even step foot outside just to make sure I have the right tags. Like, they don't know what tags they need, so they're just going to end up buying a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the Discover Pass goes up $50, or Discover Pass is now 50. It used to be, I think, 38 or something. Now it's 50. So
Mm-hmm.
everything you feel like you can't go park at a trailhead without spending $50.
Well, and I mean, the Discover Pass is totally separate. You can't
Yeah.
buy it through WDFW. So, like, you might buy, like, I remember back when you get a vehicle access pass when you buy, these, like a Get Outdoors package, but
Yeah.
that is now only good for WDFW managed lands,
Yep, state
which
land.
it's not state land. And then it's not national forest land either. So, like, if you're going to be on state land, you need a Discover Pass. If you're going to be on national forest land, you're supposed to be have a Northwest Forest Pass, which is another expense. So, like, you're making it so difficult that people have to go to all these different places just to have the right shit to go outside. It makes it so difficult, and you're turning people into, misdemeanor little, you're just like, you're breaking a rule one way or the other, where it used to be that vehicle access pass it was good for any public land, which is what it should be. If we're already spending $328, why don't we get to go utilize public land? Because I'm sorry, but hikers, they're not paying $320. They're
No.
not doing anything. They maybe get a Discover Pass or maybe get a Northwest Forest Pass, and then they go and they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Mountain bikers, hikers, whatever you want to say. Like we're putting our money up every single year just to go do the things we love to do that go automatically back to the state.
yep.
You're just a hiker traveling around. You might like you said buy the Discover Pass and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're ending up spending $760 right back to the state. And they increase our tag applications or our costs for 38% last year. Like I don't understand where this is coming from, where it's going. I would love to know if this was going back to the whitetail, blue tongue battle over there. What are we doing over there? I'd love to
Yeah.
know if this was going to fence removal projects for mule deer and elk. I'd love to know if this was going to research and helicopter flights to get actual data on our elk herds.
Yep. Yeah. Hoof rot. I mean,
Hoof rot, that's a great one.
the Blue Mountain elk herd that's just been decimated
By
over
predators. Yep.
by predators. Like,
Our
where,
goats on bakers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where's all this money going? And I think that's one of the bigger things that I think everyone can get on board with, other than the people in power. But where's the transparency on how all of this money is being funneled back into what we want it to be funneled into?
Exactly.
And they're not going to want to give us that, and frankly, I'm sure that they can't. And there's some rules blocking this, and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, if we're the ones funding all of this shit,
Yeah.
shouldn't we see exactly how it's being spent?
Yeah. Would love to. Would love to
Yeah.
see some, Washington hunting and fishing license funded projects or some kind of data showing us to make us feel a little bit better that we're spending all this money and where is it going? Where is my application money going? That's literally just me checking a box and checking out. Like I'm just earning that money.
Yeah, how cool would it be? Like, seriously, how cool would it be if you're driving down, a stretch of Highway 97 or whatever it is, and you see a new wildlife under or overpass, and there's a big billboard right there that says funded by hunting and fishing license sales.
Absolutely, dude.
Like, how awesome would that be? And how far would that go in the public perception
100%.
of hunting and fishing?
Yeah.
It would be massive to be able to do something like that and go, this is how this was funded, not by anybody else, not by some private person who's just rich as shit. This was funded by your hunting and fishing license sales. That's like the dream right there.
That's the dream. Yeah. Even a website landing page just to tell us some projects that they're working on with that money. Research and development on habitat, and improvements for whitetail, mule deer, whatever it might be. Baker mountain goats, like you said, the blue mountain elk, and it's like, oh man, we got $1.2 million down in the blues right now, helping that elk herd. Hell yeah. Maybe I won't bitch so loud when I'm spending $700 on my hunting licenses every year. If I can see it going back into fish and wildlife and something that I love with all my heart. If you're gonna spend some of my money on that, okay, I'm down. Yeah. Let's go. But if you're telling me like Bob added up my hunting costs and then multiplied it by 6, and he's like, this is what you're going to be paying if your whole family buys everything, it was $4,800.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, good luck. And especially like, Washington, yeah, we have the I-5 corridor where there's a shitload of money and there's a lot of good jobs and all this stuff along that I-5 corridor. You get outside of the I-5 corridor and you get into Eastern Washington and that's Southwest Washington and, out onto the peninsula and all these places, dude, those families are not going to be able to afford that kind of money. It's just, and that's where like we were kind of talking about this in the group chat where there's no way that I can't look at these tag increases and not feel like there is some motivation for hunter suppression behind it.
Yeah.
Like you're making it so difficult and so cost prohibitive for so many folks that after spring bear, after fall bear, after all these other things that have come up, I can't help but look at this and go, this is just another tactic to limit how many people are out there hunting so that when a bunch of people don't buy their licenses, they can go, see, no one's even hunting anymore. No one cares. Like we can get rid of it.
Yep. And then if you don't, and then you use, it's horrible to even say, but there's going to be some people that just don't buy licenses anymore,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's just going to happen. And then you're going to go like the other pendulum is like, oh, look at like they're just out here taking animals. You know, we're not reporting animals, we're taking animals. We're not. Oh, and then you go, oh, we're not buying licenses and we're not buying tags anymore. So let's just hunting is reduced by 35% in the last 5 years. Let's just cut tags by 35% because no one's buying tags.
Yep.
It's such a disgusting battle. It seems like this is honestly, in my mind, it has to be another tactic. There's no way you can spin it any way other than it's just another tactic to start picking away at hunters. And then there's going to be some people that like who maybe aren't. I don't know how to word this without sounding arrogant, but there's going to be some people who are. It's very challenge. Hunting is challenging, like very, very difficult, and maybe they haven't found success, and
Mm-hmm.
more times than often they're unsuccessful. They're just going
Mm-hmm.
to see this price and then go, you know what? That's it for me.
To hell with it.
I'm
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I don't need a hunting license. I can just go camping now.
Yep.
Like my hunting group, there's so many hunting camps out there that are generational
Yeah.
that there's a lot of 60-plus-year-old dudes out there that still just go to hunting camp and they have a tag in their pocket
Yeah.
in case something happens. But really, we all know that most of them, like not most, but a lot of them are there for the camaraderie, for the camping, for the hanging out, just to get out there and be in nature.
Yeah.
With the costs now, they might go, I don't need a tag in my pocket anymore. I can hang up the rifle and I'll just go hang out with the boys.
Yeah. 100%, dude. That's
You know?
exactly what I'm thinking too, is it's going to deter. They're going to end up, this price increase is going to actually, I would guess, it's going to drastically reduce. I'm sure there's going to be tons of multi-season deer tags left over. There's always deer tags left over. Now it's just,
Mm-hmm.
now it's $200. I'm sure there's going to be a huge amount left over that people are going to see that for the first time because most people probably bought their tags before July 1st last year.
Oh,
Most,
yeah.
most everything was done. Application season was over. Tags were probably already purchased. This is going to be the big year where we're forced to spend this money. I'm sure it's going to be a huge hit in a lot of different things. I today was adding stuff to my cart, and then after I had the full price, like what the whole meal deal would be, I started taking stuff out. I
Yeah.
don't I don't need a second deer tag. I'm gonna end up in Montana and Idaho and Colorado. I took the second deer tag out. I took the doe tag out. I don't really want to kill a doe. I'm not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took out the cow moose. I'm like, if I'm gonna go shoot a moose, I want a bull. You know, I didn't apply for the juvenile ram. I didn't apply for the ewe. So I'm gonna start declining all those things to save $150. And then
Yep.
the state's losing money because they did this money grab thing. Like what was the point in this?
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I ended up doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. Is like, man, like, what, and I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, once I actually start drawing some of these tags and my points go back to zero,
Yeah.
Washington's already hard enough to like draw tags in.
Yeah.
Like, why am I gonna now put in that much more money into 10 more years of applying and just kind of really knowing that I'm just donating money at that point.
Yeah.
But as those tag increases go up, like you said, like I'm just going to have to start limiting the things that I actually apply for in Washington
Totally.
instead of just being like, yep, I'll throw the whole, I'm going to do antlerless elk and I'm doing second deer and I'm buying a point for this and buying a point for, like buying
Yeah.
a point across the board. Now it's like exactly what you just said. If I can save $150, $200 or whatever by not applying for those and shit, maybe not even applying for multi-deer anymore. It's just like,
Yep.
man, for a multi-season elk tag, I'm gonna have to spend another $250 in Washington.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like Washington elk hunting's hard enough, and like I get it. If you're gonna hunt elk in Washington, multi-season's probably your best bet.
Yeah.
But I could save that $250. I could save the application money, so another $10. I could save, not apply for 5 or 6 other special permits. There's another $50, $60.
Yeah.
And I'm up to $400 saved that I can apply to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Dude, and then like this is kind of getting into the weeds here, but look at diesel prices.
Oh boy, especially
I
yeah
mean,
for you.
for
Oh boy.
2026, man, like you like everything's so damn expensive right now.
Hmm.
Like, and then there's gonna factor up like wait until modern comes around, and then these people that like we just talked about that are just like, oh, I'm just gonna go to hunting camp just to be camaraderie, like, hang around the campfire, drink some whiskey, and chat with the boys, and then everything's so damn expensive. Like if those guys are on their way to hunting camp in October, and like, oh, I'll swing by Ace Hardware and buy my tag. They're gonna spit their coffee out when they see that their tag went up to $190 to buy multi or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're spending $7 a gallon at the pump right now. Tags went up to 328 for the get outdoors. God forbid the fishing guys too that want to do waterfowl, want to do fishing, want to do big game. Like, good grief, dude, we're getting priced out of it. It just seems like another sick tactic to get into the hunting industry and to start eliminating hunters because that's what they ultimately want. Less hunters is less voices. Less voices are easier suppressed, and then they're just going to nitpick away and start taking away more opportunity. And that's the last thing we need. We need hunters to come together and be united and stay in the field and pass it down generationally. And as if it keeps going, there's not going to be anybody defending it.
Yep.
That's the sad thing.
Yeah, exactly. And like we've just, been hammering this whole point is it it's hard to not look at this as another strategy for them to say, hey, look, there's not as many people buying tags anymore. So, because that is something that we as hunters and stuff, we like to beat our chest a little bit about how much money, like we put our money where our freaking mouth is,
Yes,
when
we
it
do.
comes to how much money we're putting into conservation efforts and habitat restoration and all this stuff, all this money that's raised via hunting and fishing licenses, hunting and fishing gear with the Pittman Robertson Act and
Yeah.
all this stuff. I mean, I was looking at it just the other day. It's up to like $1.6 billion a year just from hunting and fishing licenses.
God, is that nationwide? Obviously.
Yeah, that's nationwide. But that is a massive, massive amount of money that we, the collective we, are the ones funding all of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's got to be one of the only commodities that have something like that. Like mountain bikers, do mountain bike parts go to trail restoration? Probably not.
Hell no.
Do
Hell no.
mountain bike tires and stuff like that go into outhouses and trailhead restoration and updates? No.
No, it goes into granola farms or some shit.
Okay, Jimmer. Sound like my dad over there.
Turkey bacon?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Turkey bacon? They don't have no bacon.
Yogurt and granola.
Oh gosh.
But it is true, like you see it a lot on with like what we posted just the other day with the cuts to the Department of the Interior and the Forest Service and stuff like that. It is getting bigger and getting more attention, kind of like the public land grab that tried to happen, because all these hikers and mountain bikers are seeing that and they're going to go, who's going to be there to clean the shitter? Who's
Yeah.
going to be there to empty out the garbage cans? Who's going to be there to keep these trails maintained?
Yeah.
Like all
And
that work that people don't think about.
no,
It's
dude.
all very important and it's all going to go away. And without user groups funding that, it will go away.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we see it firsthand too, hunting in our neck of the woods that we like to go to, and we'll go through on a weekend in August, and it won't be a thing to see 150 cars on the highway,
Mm-hmm.
lined up at trailheads, and you got to think like, man, how does that shitter have toilet paper right now? We're taking out that garbage after this weekend.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, it's Labor Day, and you see it's literally there's nowhere to park on the highway. It's
Yeah.
absurd. And the trailheads, like there's a lot of traffic going up those trails. Who is everybody packing it in and packing it out? Is everyone
Mm-hmm.
being responsible and taking care of our wilderness? Are we having fires when we're not supposed to? There's a lot of things to think about. And at least hunters can say, like, Yeah, 1.7 billion or whatever you said is where hunters are putting it up to do those things. Our
Mhm.
tags, licenses, and fees are paying for our fish and wildlife officers and offices and different needs around the state. Where the other commodities like hikers, bikers, snowmobilers, even like none of their money is directly going into our lands. You know,
Yep.
in those forest services and the officers and biologists, like yeah, we have a little bit more dog in the fight, if you will.
Well, and that's where it gets super frustrating when jumping into kind of like the commission talk and things like that, where they're giving more voice to the people who aren't even paying into the pot. They're
Yeah.
giving more they're putting more weight on certain user groups, and
Yes.
the weight and the user groups that are getting that weight put on them are the ones that aren't even putting the money and the financial aspect back into the pot. And
Yeah.
that's what's so freaking frustrating about this whole thing is when you start to look into that and it's like, why, like when the proposal that it didn't happen, but the proposal to push fall bear back to September 15th,
Yep.
their reason was to avoid or limit
Really looking at it, right.
conflicts between different user groups and to allow for more bear viewing opportunities. Bitch, there is no bear viewing place in Washington.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Alaska where you just have a waterfall where grizzly bears are trying to eat salmon jumping up and you can go stand on a viewpoint and watch them. That
This
is
is
not
the
what's happening in Washington.
100%. So I was on this. I was smelling what Zach was stepping in immediately, and I and this is the exact quote. Consider later hunting start dates. In example, after Labor Day. In areas where black bear viewing is popular and conflict between user groups is likely to occur to balance competing users. So immediately, they are saying that bear viewership takes precedence over hunting and fishing.
They're also saying that it's a competition between us and hikers or whoever's out there trying to just like view wildlife. There's no
Yeah.
competition.
No.
They're the ones using that verbiage to try and have this
Yes.
image of us
No.
butting heads all the time.
Yeah. There is no such thing as conflicting user groups other than somebody who is out hiking and I'm camping in their spot. Might be the only conflict.
Yeah.
Is where where someone can say when I was out hunting or when I was out hiking and I was trying to do some bear viewing, there was a bear hunter camped in my spot.
Yeah.
That may be the literally maybe parked in your parking spot. Those are the only two conflicts that I can actually understand. If you're out walking around the woods and I happen to be out in the woods hunting, there should be no conflict. I'm
Yeah.
doing my thing, you're doing your thing.
In I don't know. I've been hunting since I was 12 was my first actual like having a hunting license year. So I'm 38 now. In 26 years of hunting, I've had two negative interactions that you would say are between conflicting user groups or whatever. It was, some hikers didn't like that I had a rifle
Sure.
and thought I was in the national park when I was not. They did not know where they were. I knew where I was. And I quickly showed them on the map. I am not in the national park. Here's where we are. Maybe you need to get your facts straight before you
Yeah.
come at me. And the
Yep.
other time was with
Yeah.
you when we had another hiker that was upset that we were bear hunting. But that is two examples in 26 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should definitely move the dates for those
Yeah.
two reasons.
And exactly, and give the precedence to the people who are trying to view, not the people who are trying to fill their freezer with organic meat, and
Yep.
paid for that right.
Yep.
I paid for this
Exactly.
tag and this opportunity.
Yep.
You didn't pay anything to come hike on these public lands because those are your public lands, and damn it, I want to protect them for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to step on my passion and put that on a pedestal for what reason? Why do I need to take the back seat? Why do I need to give up some of my prime hunting days, which I
Mm-hmm.
only get so many in the first place? You can go look for a bear 365 days a year.
Yep.
I can only
Yeah.
hunt one for 90 days?
Yeah, you can hike every weekend the entire year. If
That's
you're
right.
a weekend warrior, you can hike every freaking weekend.
Go ahead. Go look for them.
Yep. Guess what I can't do every weekend? I cannot hunt bears every weekend.
And if they pushed it back in example to that quotation to after Labor Day, that would cut bear season in half.
And they know exactly why they want to pick that date is because they know that prime bear hunting
Mhm.
is up until that middle of September.
Yeah.
But the majority of bear harvest, probably after Labor Day, is incidental.
Yes.
It's I'm
My
out
deer
there.
hunting.
Yeah, I'm deer hunting or I'm elk hunting, and I ran into a bear and I shot it.
Yep.
That's and so they're taking away. They're trying to push it back to where there will not be bear like dedicated bear hunters out there in many numbers. And the other dumb thing is you can say that it's about safety or whatever, like they've tried to do before. Why are you going to then allow, like, you're not changing anything with bear hunters being out there with rifles during archery season?
Yeah.
That doesn't change anything. So you can still be an archery guy out on the hill and a bear hunter can be over here. You didn't change any of this.
Yeah.
It's not a safety thing. Don't give me that. Like you're
Totally.
because if you're really worried about safety, you're going to make an archery guy wear orange, or you're going to make bear hunters wear orange, which that all got pushed back because we proved that it's not an actual safety concern.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think like one thing I have to keep reminding myself too is these aren't logical people. They're not trying to make sense. They're not trying to do what's best for the animal or what's best for the hunter or what's best for any specific user group. It's just absolute attack, and they're doing anything they possibly can to decrease opportunity. And that's the only blatant thing. Wording stuff like push bear season back 6 weeks, because August 1st to after Labor Day would be about 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Push bear season back. You want to cut bear season in half, decrease it by 6 weeks because of bear viewership interactions? What? So that just immediately tells me this is not even a logical person. They're not trying to use any type of science and data and biological facts that are presented by biologists or Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife and an absurd amount of complaints saying that I was observing a bear. Go to a park. Go to Mount Rainier National. I can't hunt Mount Rainier National Park. Go to the park.
Yep. Go to Mount Rainier, go to the Olympic National Park, go
Yeah,
to North Cascades National Park. I guarantee you'll see plenty of bears in any of
there.
those spots. And people
100%.
can go there whenever they want, yet
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can't hunt there, but you can go hiking there.
exactly.
You have places that you have those W's for you. Go to those places.
And if you're the type of person, and this is what it kind of comes down to, if you're the type of person that you should know yourself that if you're gonna be bothered by someone hunting or someone recreating on public lands in a different way than you, then maybe you should avoid that. You should be the one who's going to avoid that conflict and go to a national park rather than you think that your comfort is more important than everybody else's.
Agreed.
Because I promise you, I don't give a shit if you're out there hiking around.
Don't care.
If
We
you're
see
out there hiking and bird watching and whatever the hell else you want to do on public lands, and
Yeah.
I'm out there hunting at the same time, I'm going to wave at you, smile, and tell you to have a good day. And I don't give a fuck because I'm just happy that you're out there doing something.
100%, man. And that person and that user group is probably going to want to protect public lands. So
Mhm.
I'm all for you. But don't come at me because I'm out there glassing on a knob at 6 in the morning trying to shoot a bear.
Yep.
Didn't do anything to you. And like Zach said 2 minutes ago, is we've had dozens upon dozens of amazing interactions over the course of our years, and we hunt on some trails that are actively used every year, and we'll get people from all walks of life. What you tracking? What do you guys
Yeah.
looking
Oh,
for?
yeah.
Oh, we're glassing these bears down there. Bears? That's so cool. And then they'll even look in the spotter. Yeah, you want to see them? We put the
Mhm.
spotter on them for them. We put the OLLIN on the phone, and they can walk up and look at a mountain goat. Zach and I were looking at goats a couple years ago, and guys came up and they were just mind blown. They saw
Yeah.
mountain goats. There's all sorts of good interactions. So this bullshit that these commissioners are pushing is just absolute It's garbage. It's a blatant attack on our way of life and what we love to do. And we're over it. And we're calling it a spade, and just like, hey, we just need to be aware of it, stay ahead of it, and just be mindful that these are just blatant attacks, that they don't care who they're trying to offend, and they're not trying to make sense. They're not trying to be logical. They're just blatantly attacking and trying to get rid of opportunity.
Yeah, that's kind of what Dane and Jerry and myself talked about in that podcast as well. Is they're not that the four in particular, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Like
Yeah.
they know that we know that they know,
Yeah.
like it's that like they're just like, yeah, like we've been caught now with like this null memo and like all these different like emails that have just been surfacing that the Conservation Coalition has just been blasting out there. Like they they're just like, whatever. They caught us. They know our motive. They know what we're trying to do now. So why even? They're not even going to try and hide it at this point.
Yeah. 100%.
Like they just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's move on before we spend too much time on that one. But so I
kind of felt good.
I did. It felt really good. Yeah. I feel like, just slap someone in the face, and I like it. So we're moving over to deer seasons. We're back to the 2026 game regulations. We have a really good deer season, Zach. We have great dates for mule deer. On the left, we have 2024, which was 12 through 25. And now we have
That's just 12 through 25 is just some of the whitetail. It was 12 through 22.
12 through 22. Yep, there you go. Mule deer. 12 through 22 for mule deer. And this year we have 17 to 27, which those are really, really good dates. So if you're a mule deer hunter in the modern Orange Army, you should be excited. We have great dates this year. It was pushed back. We had that year where the second Saturday was way too early on in the dates, and it got pushed out to the third Saturday. I'm guessing that's what that's about. But yeah, we have really, really good dates for this year's modern. Let's see what weekend that is. Looks like, yeah,
it's the third weekend.
Third Saturday now. So instead of opening on the 10th, which I guess I've seen it open on the 10th before, they decided to go and push it back to the third. So we have the third Saturday in October as opener, and it ends on the last Tuesday of the month, Tuesday the 27th. There's going to be a lot of mule deer bucks killed on 25, 26, 27. If I had to.
Oh, and then on top of that, the blacktail season is now all the way to November 1.
Oh,
so you get that full last weekend. That Halloween on Saturday and that Sunday, November 1 is going to be chef's kiss prime time for some Western blacktail hunting.
I see. Oh, yeah, November 1. I was looking at 24. Here we go. I was getting in trouble. Yeah, October 17th to November 1. I wonder why they gave us that extra day. That's really cool.
It starts way later. If you look at the 2024, it started on October 12th and went through November 1st. So we still lose days, but it gives us a day on the end.
The 31st. It didn't go to the 1st on the 2024.
No, and that's typical is that it goes through the 31st. And I wonder if they just extended it out a day because it starts so much later this year.
Interesting.
Because that 12 through 31, that's damn near 20 days. 17 through 1 is down to 15,
Yeah.
So
good catch, man. That's something cool. Like you said, that's a W. Take those W's where we can.
Yep, exactly. So you got to wait a little bit longer to get started, but you get the prime blacktail dates are always the end of that season, just like the mule deer dates. It's always the last few days if you can be out in the woods those days.
Yeah, I'm sure, like you said, 31 and 1 is going to be some really good. What day did you kill your buck on? Like 28 or something like that, right?
27.
27. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's getting good then. So, yeah, imagine all the way November 1. That's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Let's go down until we see some red. Looks like typical mule deer seasons for archery, September 1 through 25. 25 to date. That seems early, right? Let's go to the end. I want to say that it went to 27 a couple years ago.
Cut a couple days off.
Yeah, cut a couple of days off at the end. I wonder if they're getting ready for the Muzzy guys. I wonder if they're giving them. I wonder if Muzzy came up let's I don't know why it does that, dadgummit. I wonder if the Muzzy guys got a little bit of extra time or something. Let's go down to Muzzy. Muzzy, September 26th. Yeah, so they get a couple more days in the front. So 26th to October 4th for mule deer muzzleloader this year. And Muzzy was September 28th.
So it's pretty similar, but
Yeah. Yep. So pretty similar. And then mule deer or the high buck is staying the same.
yep.
September 15th to 25th, 3 point minimum. All those same wilderness areas. So high buck, that's a good one. Seems like a fun hunt. I want to do that one day.
Yeah, I'd like to try it out sometime.
Yeah, I heard there's some good success on that.
Yeah, people ask us all the time, like, "Are you guys ever going to do that?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I'm a little scared."
Yeah. I don't really like going spooky places.
Thought you were going to say you don't like going deep, and I was like, "Oh, that's because you can't."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And every time I do, it gets surrounded by wolves. Quality deer hunts, we kind of covered that. We have some yellow. Let's go down and see what changed in some of these quality deer hunts. Oh, they're all different here. Let's
You're
go.
on the wrong page. There you go. That's all the same. So go down to the second page on, yep, there.
Here we go. This over. See what.
So 9 through 15. Yeah, just really the same time frame, just slightly different dates for
Yeah.
most of those. So
Yeah.
that's just how the calendar's moving around. But the tag numbers, permit
Yeah.
numbers,
Yeah.
oh,
Pogue reduced by 5.
Chihuahua down by
Chihuahua.
1,
Yep. Slide Ridge. Oh, went up.
by 2.
Slide Ridge went up by 2. Desert went down 14 tags.
Wow.
That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Desert's down 14 tags. Nanum is up 1. Quillamine
Down 1.
down 1. Tan.
Tianaway back to the same. So they must have had a change in 2025.
Yep, yep. I am looking at 24 just for the prices. I could go to 2025 now and do this same thing. I will do that. It's just we
Yeah, let's do it.
2025 WDFW big game pamphlet. Let's see. Let's see. All right. I never understood this one. This cover.
It was from a fence pole.
Yeah, fence
So
removal project.
yeah, I brought that up actually to someone and they said yeah, it was because they were trying to promote like the fence removal stuff and
Uh,
projects and conservation and blah blah blah.
yeah, the old blah blah blah.
That's
All
right.
right, here we go.
So,
We're into it here. Here we go. So Quillamine went down. It was, or no, Tianaway did come down 1,
mm-hmm.
and Quillamine went down 1.
Yep, from last year.
And
Okay.
then Desert went from 18 to 10 this year,
10.
and then
Dang.
Desert Late went from 5 to 4.
Yeah. And the alkalis that got canceled last year because the base shut that whole area
Oh,
down.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't even offer that as an option this year.
On. Yep.
So
All right, let's I guess we can go through a little bit more of these changes if we want. Um Looks like a big change. Nope, that stayed the same. Here's kind of like the meat and potatoes of.
archery.
Mm.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just kind of onesie twosies here and there.
Yeah, Tianaway archery went down, reduced by 1. That's really it.
Yeah, just a few.
Wawa went down by 1. Skookum Chuck didn't change. Mm.
Yeah, just a handful of small ones. So there's the one I was just talking about, the Palouse right there.
And then the Sinley Heekin.
The Palouse 300 to 100, dude.
They re
200 tags gone.
Yeah, that's insane. They
That
reduced by.
that's the biggest change by
Yeah,
far.
that's huge. Everything else kind of untouched except for Sinley Heekin, reduced by half. It was
Yep.
20 tags, now it's 10. And then also the Pogue reduced in half from 10 to 5.
Yep.
And then Ritzville stayed the same. Changed last year, but stayed the same this year.
Interesting. Yeah, the Palouse one is just that's such a big opportunity hunt for so many people because I mean, look at it. It's GMU's 127 through 142. So I mean, it's just a giant area.
Yeah. And 1,350 applications. A lot of people went for that.
Yep. Yep. So that's going to become a tough one.
Yeah, man. That's sad.
Nothing different there.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Unchanged. Antlerless, don't really care about that kind of stuff. If you want to go look at it, go check it out. What I'm doing here, guys, if you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, Zach and I are just looking at the 2025 big game regs and the 2026 that came out today. We're just
Yep.
going over it. Nothing changed for the youth. This is the first time in my life I'm looking at youth stuff, so fun to look at these kind of things. Nothing changed from last year on the youth side. And then this whole page of youth, nothing changed. Oh, a couple different ones here.
What is that one? The Washougal, Minot Peak, and the Skookumchuck had some changes.
I'm still in the antlerless. Youth, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the Washougal increased by 5.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
The Minot Peak, in,
Was 5 and 4.
yeah, so it went down by 1.
Yeah, went down by one. And then
And then the
20.
Skookumchuck, what? It says that it's the same. So I don't know what that, I don't know why that says it's in red.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Typo.
Yeah, typo. We caught you. Let's go. Shall we get into the elk a little bit, Zach, before this podcast gets too long?
Yeah, let's do it. I think that's what between
Mark.
deer, elk, and then we can kind of touch on some of the oils.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Here's elk dates this year. Modern elk season 2026 is October 31st, Halloween opener, going through November 8th.
Later.
Yeah, seems to me like that's a better season. Going a little bit later, letting those bulls possibly start heading down. I'm not super big on late season bulls, but I think that those are last year in Wyoming. I was in there from the 25 through the 29th ish, and they were still super high. So I'd imagine if you get to push into November, the first 8 to 9 days, that can make a big difference. And if you get some snow, you get some weather in early November and start pushing bulls down. I'm not sure, but these seem like. I guess we're not hunting bulls, are we? We'd be hunting spikes, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess any kind of winter range push would be helpful, and you just hope for weather type of thing. But that seems like some better dates. I'm not positive though.
Yeah, at least it's, that Eastern modern deer, it's right after, you got a 4-day buffer from when Eastern modern mule deer ends as well. So you got a little bit of a time break in between there. And then, yeah, Western Washington, you're looking at November 7th through the 18th instead of 1 through 12. So you're kind of, you're pushed, everything's kind of pushed back a week, it seems
Oh,
like this year, just because of how those dates fell.
yeah. Archery, I mean, these changed by a week as well.
Yeah, the
Archery,
archery season's dope this
that's a
year.
good season to draw your quality tag on. You got the 12th through the 24th this year for Eastern archery and Western archery. It
Yeah.
was the 6th through the 18th last year. So I mean, those are also pretty decent dates, but I would
Hmm.
much prefer have the 12th through the 24th.
Yeah, the 12 through 24 is an awesome season. And yeah, I think like you said, if you're gonna be one of those lucky ones that draw a quality archery tag this year, you're gonna have some damn good hunting.
Yeah, I will say, excuse me. Opening day of Zach and mine's quality in 2016-17 were 9 and 10, and we had great mornings.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Not, I mean, we know, I mean, look at Utah last year. Our best days were like 7, 8,
7, 8, yeah,
but general rule that
yeah,
12 through 24 is going to be your better time frame.
100%, man. Yeah, it would be really tough for me if you had 10 days. It would be a tough choice to go 10 through 20 versus 15 through 25.
Mm,
Those would be a really tough choice for me. Uh,
yeah.
But yeah, that's right in there with that prime. I'd prefer, I mean, last year being 6 through 18, I would much prefer 10 through 20, 15 through 24, or 15 through 25. So yeah, those are good dates this year.
Yep.
Muzzleloader is 3 through 9. Last year it was 4 through 10, so very unchanged there, pretty similar.
Yep.
Nothing as far as any type of point regulation change. Everything's still unchanged there. And then moving.
Yep. So know whether you're in a true spike unit or a spike unit, like you gotta, if you're on the east side, you gotta pay attention to all that stuff. You hear about oopsies every year where a guy's in a true spike unit, shoots a 1x2, it gets taken from him. So
Yeah,
just do your due diligence. Let, especially like those guys that have been hunting those units for 20 years and maybe don't check the regs and don't even really pay attention. If you can reach out to some of those guys, make sure that they know what the actual regulation is, because the last thing anybody wants is to shoot something, get all excited, and then have a warden roll up and go, sorry, bud, that you don't get to keep this and you're in trouble.
yeah, exactly, dude. Yep. Okay, meat and potatoes. So what we all been waiting for. This is the elk quality hunts, and we're gonna get into bull hunts. We were specifically talking about the Yakima herd, but we're gonna go through all of them here. We have some of the blues getting a little bit of a change. It says here in red, Blue Creek 2003 was it's red, indicating a change at 6, but last year it was 6.
Yeah, it says the same thing for oh, never mind. I was looking
Prescott
at the
changed.
wrong side. Yep, I was looking at
Yeah.
the wrong side. My bad.
Prescott went from 5 to 8, and
But
then Blue Creek. You,
Winaha West went down by 1.
oh no, that's not good.
So it's down from 6 to 5 for
And
Winaha
also
West.
Winaha West last year was also red, indicating a change. So I'm sure it went down again.
Yep.
And now we're down again. So yeah, the Blues are not doing great. And
Yeah.
then Coos, I'm not sure what unit that is. It got reduced by 2. Oh, Coos 181
Yeah,
unit.
that's right down there with the Blues.
Okay.
It's one of the, I think that one has a lot more private land. It's not getting up into the mountains. It's more of that foothillsy stuff.
Okay. Clockham went up by 1. It was 21 tag or 21 permits. It is now 22.
And this is rifle
This
right
is
now.
Eastern Rifle. Yep. And then we have Teanaway increasing by 3, that's always a win. Going from 2 permits to 5, and then Peaches Observatory and what is that one? Little Natchez. Oh no, Teanaway, Peaches Observatory also increasing. Total permits up to 4, and
From
then
2. So they doubled.
they doubled. Still not great numbers.
No, Goose Prairie doubled as well. They went from 2 to 4. Bethel went from 2 to 3. Rimrock went from 2 to 3. Cowiche went from 2 to 3.
Yep.
So those are increases, and I don't mind the slower incremental increase, especially for the quality rifle hunts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see 30 quality rifle tags out there. Like that will hurt the elk herds a little bit.
Yeah,
So
I think
I'm
those success rates are just much higher, and so you
yeah.
can guarantee, like not guarantee, but for the most part, if you're eating one of those, you're probably passing on something, right?
Mhm.
You had the opportunity at least. So yeah, if we're hurting, our herds are actually in danger. Reducing rifle hunts is probably the number one tactic. And
Yeah.
now that we're getting into archery, this is kind of where we see some big changes, which is
Yeah, the only one I'll mention on the west side is that Tootle. That's a big one for a lot of people, and it did go down by 2. So the Tootle Western firearm for the November hunt went
gotcha.
down by 2. So
Yeah, 30 down to 28.
yeah, so that's something to think about. So this is the whole point of this, and kind of going through these numbers for everyone listening as well, is this is this has got to play into your application strategy. When you see these numbers getting dropped, added, changed, whatever, you need to utilize that to build your application and what units you want to be applying for.
Yeah, exactly. So then we're getting into some of the Yakima Elk Herd areas. I guess we got Clockham going up by 2 on the Eastern Archery. The dates last year were 1 through 18 for quality. So those are different dates
And
than
same with this year. It's same for this year. The
yeah.
Blues are 7 through 24, and the Yakima Kalakam herd is 1 through 18. So you don't
Okay.
get that
12,
general 12 through
24.
24.
So you will have the first 11 days alone.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
The years you and I, Zach, we didn't get that. We had the
No,
same dates as general.
exactly.
And it looks like the over the counter hunters will get the last 6 days by themselves. No quality guys.
Yep.
I don't really know how I feel about that. 1 through 18 is, I mean, that's still a good season. You get 18 days. But yeah,
What
interesting.
what
One,
would you rather have? Would you rather have 1 through 18 as the quality guy, or if they could flip it and the quality guy got 12 through 24?
I would say I'd probably still rather have the 1 through 18 just because Washington elk are so unpressured. They're so unhunted. Where I mean, we're looking at the tags, and we had 2 tags last year. Like what these elk don't know what to when they get called at on September 6th, they're probably like, "I'm coming, mama," I'm coming after you. And then you stick them with a bow. Yeah, I'd still rather have the 1 through 18 with no other hunters, no OTC guys. You're out there with, if we're talking, let's just say goose. This year we have 18 tags. I'm out there with 17 other guys for 11 days.
In 2 units. I
Yeah,
mean, those are 2 giant units with Goose Prairie. Same
yeah,
thing like Peaches, Observatory. Those are massive, massive areas.
totally.
So you're going to be way spread out with all those people. And so I'm with you. I would rather have first crack at them
Oh yeah.
rather than the tail end after every OTC guy has been out there chasing these things around.
Exactly, dude. Bumping elk. Those OTC guys. They love to hear elk, as we all do. They're
Oh,
probably
yeah.
at them. They're bugling at bulls. They're trying to call them in for the cell phone pick, and I don't blame them at all. I'm not
Me
talking
either.
crap. I go talk with elk. It's amazing. But yeah, I would rather have 1 through 18. Those first 11 days without anybody else out there, other than the other quality guys. We know Zach and I know that quality experience in Washington is a true quality experience.
It
It's
really
incredible.
is.
It's incredible. Like we've both had the tag, we've both had amazing experiences. That's the one thing I can pat Washington on the back for is when you draw one of these hunts, it's going to be incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so getting into these tag numbers with that, this is where in the group chat today, we were kind of saying, like, man, you gotta, we have to give credit where it's due at this point
Yep.
because now no more can we blatantly scream once it's gone forever
Yeah.
because they have now shown the commission. And I'm sure that this is more by the Jerry referred to them this way, and I really like it. The real commissioners, they're the ones that I would bet are pushing for this and seeing the data and seeing the numbers that these herds, this Yakima herd, is above objective now.
Yep.
So by their mandate, they have to start increasing hunting opportunity again. And we finally see that that has come to fruition after many years of tag decrease, 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 and to where it made it truly a once in a lifetime type of tag. Um, but the only one that went down was the Kalakam. It did drop by 2. Other than that, you get into the Yakima herd, and we see increases across the board from Peaches, Observatory, Gooseberry, Bethel, Rimrock, and Cowiche.
Yeah.
So they did take whatever numbers, whatever stats and data and things that they got from their biologists, and they put that into practice, which is very, very nice to see.
It is, man. And let's go over those numbers really quick. We went from let's go to Yakima because that's kind of what Zach and I I'm sure yes, Zach and I had a Yakima herd quality elk tag. There's no
Mm-hmm.
shock there. We're going to go through all of them here. So we got peaches went from 6 to oh man, I scooted over a little bit too much here. Hold on. Okay. Peaches 2058 went from 6 peaches 2058 to 22. So
Yep.
that is awesome.
Almost 4x'd it.
Incredible. I'm all for it. It's
Yep.
going to be there's 645 applications last year, and we have 22 quality elk permits.
Yep.
Observatory went from 7 to 28.
So did 4x it.
Yeah, incredible.
Football math.
Yeah, I got a kid yelling at me. Zach, go ahead, take a rest.
All right. So then you get down in here to Goose Prairie was all the way down to 2 tags last year, which is pretty crazy. It is now up to Jeff's cursor is in the way of it. I can't see. It's all the way up to 18. So that 9x'd what it was last year, which is just insane. I mean, that does kind of go to show you that they realized that that number of 2 tags was outrageously low. When they 9x it in a year, like they're basically admitting like, yeah, we fucked up on that one.
That was wrong. Yeah. The other thing to think about too is that archery guys, we all know, we've all heard the podcast that they say that it's a 10% success rate.
If that.
And having 2 permits means they don't want a single bull taken.
Basically.
Which it's crazy to me. If you have 10 permits and it's a 10% success rate, you want 1 bull gone.
Yeah.
Having 2 tags available means I don't think we even need a bull gone.
Mm-hmm.
How? Yeah, we don't need to. We're moving. Give me a paper bag.
I will say, like, I would bet you that the quality tag harvest stats are higher than the general like 10% rule.
I would agree.
But even then, it's still saying we expect and we want a very, very low number of bulls taken out of this.
Yeah.
Getting over to Bethel, you went from 7 to 15, so you over doubled it, which is really nice. Rimrock, you went from 12 to 25, so again, just over double. Cowiche went from 2 as well. Cowiche was all the way down to 2, just like Goose Prairie, and you went up to 15. So I mean, it's not back to the numbers that we were in 2016, 2017, the years that
back.
I know. Oh boy, I know what you're doing. And so, you know, we've looked at this where back in 2016, so this is the year that Jeff drew those Yakima herd tags, Peaches Ridge 134, Observatory 134, Goose Prairie 93, Bethel 46, Rimrock 71. So from 2016 to 2025 in Goose Prairie and in Cowiche, or I guess we can't see Cowiche, but in Goose Prairie, you went from 93 all the way to 2.
Holy shit, to hear that out loud is great.
It's
man.
Kind of scary, dude. It's kind of
hunt code 2067. Let's go Peaches. 2065 had 134 permits.
Yep. You got to the hunt codes have changed because they've added and subtracted.
Yeah. Peaches Ridge in 2025 had 6.
Yeah.
It went from 134 to 6 in 9 hunting seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that I want to bring up and pull up onto my shared screen here is this little chart that I Googled or ChatGPT'd or whatever. I'm not sure if you could see it. Can you see it, Zach?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So it's a Yakima elk herd population trend chart, and it has a demarcation line, which is, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. But if you're just listening to this, there's a demarcation line that's checkered red, and that's their management objective, which they claim management objective for the Yakima elk herd is 9,500 animals. So that's kind of how this thing starts. And then on one side of this graph, you have the estimated population from 7,000 all the way up to 12,000. And then you have the years. So you got the first year of this is 2015. Then you got 2016, 2017, 18, all the way to 2025. And we got little dots representing some of these different years. Looking at this back in 2015, they estimate that the elk herd was right around 11,000. So well over objective, which would be in alignment with why there were so many elk tags available.
Yep.
Checks out. So 2016, we get down almost to objective. So in a year, they went from 1,100 or 11,000 almost to 9,500 elk in their estimations. 2016, the last year of like kind of elevated numbers before the big decreases started to occur.
Yep.
2017, they estimate that the elk herd was all the way down to 8,500 roughly on this chart, which is 1,000 animals below objective. 2017, the year that I drew, there was still anywhere from 100 to 70 tags, I believe. Jeff can pull up those 2017 numbers so that we can get you the exact number of those tags. But this is kind of when, but from 2016 to 2017 is when we started to see the decrease. And it started off kind of slow, like palatable, like decreases. And then it just escalated like crazy to get us all the way down to 2 tags, 5 tags, single digit tags being the prime example.
It went up.
Oh, from
Goose went up in 16 to 17 from 91 to 109. You had 109.
Okay. Yep. And then 104 for peaches. So that one went down a little bit. Observatory. God, I can't say that. That one went down a little bit from 2016 to 2017. Goose went up from 2016 to 2017. So I guess it would be the following year that we started to see the widespread change in tags being available, which, you know, looking at that chart, you start to pull that chart back up, Jeff. Looking at that chart, if that's the case, and 2017 is kind of a low spot in Yakima elk herd population trends, it makes sense why they started to decrease tags, because then in 2018, it went down a little bit more, 2019 down a little bit more, 2020, and then to a low spot in 2021. And then after 2021, from 21 to 22, they estimate it went from 8,000 back to 11,000. How the hell did we put 3,000 more elk back on the landscape? All that tells, and like, this is what we were talking about in the group chat earlier, is you're going to look at these numbers and you're going to go, and like as an outside objective person, and if you're only looking at numbers and nothing else, you're going to go, well, yeah, this all makes sense. They decreased a bunch of tags when the elk population decreased. It slowed the decrease in the elk population because those tags were limited. And then because the tags were limited, the elk population spiked. But we continued to see elk tags decrease from 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. But the elk population in those years stayed the same or decreased back towards the objective number.
Yeah.
So yes, you can look at that simply if you have a bias towards decreasing tags means more animals on the landscape and come to a conclusion that it worked. But where you can't hide that is what happened in 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, when elk tags continued to be cut, but the populations came back down.
Totally, man. And what you're alluding to with 21 to 22, this tells me that there was a major something happened with our survey.
That's exactly what my conclusion would be, is the aerial surveys were done either at a slightly different time,
yep,
with maybe different people who were more effective or less effective.
Yep.
And that's the only thing I can come up with that would jump 3,000 animals in the Yakima herd in a year.
Yeah.
Is the survey numbers were wrong in 18, 19, 20, 21 when they were very, very low.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have had less animals than we did in, 2015. That's very possible. We had the hard winters and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to spike like that, that's not, elk don't repopulate that quickly.
No, it takes time. And one thing that I can say is that I had a message today from a buddy on Instagram who seems to know that the surveys in the spring are done at different times with different equipment, and they fly the same path year after year after year, which winters change year after year. If you have a very harsh winter, you're going to force elk in the winter range longer. If you have a winter like 16, winter of 15, or no, that would have been 14 into 15, I think, where the elk were at 7. I remember I found sheds with Janie at 6,500 feet.
This year is going to be very similar. No winter.
If you have those differences, if you have a harsh winter like you did the 97, 98, and then you have a 15, 16, there's going to be completely different elk ranges of where those elk are at. And if you're flying a very similar path year after year after year, you're getting skewed data.
Yeah.
If you fly different dates, if you say, hey, we have an opening for the airplane is ready for you on March 1st, and then it's not ready for you until April 1st, that's a gigantic different data chunk.
Yep.
You're getting skewed data.
Yeah, if you're waiting longer and longer, you're giving those elk more and more time to get up into timbered areas where you're not going to see them, and not to mention like winter is one thing, but then you have construction of new roads that are going to block things off. You're going to have activity, whether that's timber cutting, whether that's prescribed burns, you're going to have all that kind of stuff. For anyone watching, this is what I deal with on a daily basis. Did you see how Jeff spelled survey?
Yes, it's SUR.
VEY.
So 2025, it was conducted February 10 through 15.
Covering areas from south of I-90 to Cowiche.
Okay. 22, I don't see dates. 2020 was September 6. Look at 13 through 16, April 5th.
Yep.
Please tell me how 25 in February 10th through the 15th is the same data as April 5th.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it really hard.
I'm a fucking biologist, and I know that's not going to get the same data.
Yeah.
Purpose. These 30-hour helicopter flights are used to determine population size, herds and sex ratios, cow to calf ratios. Target areas. Biologist 340, 342, 352, 360, and 368. So just a quick, and this is from, the source is WDFW.
Mm-hmm.
There's the survey right there.
Yeah, so it says surveys are highly weather dependent, which obviously, and typically target the window when snow holds elk at lower elevations. So like it makes sense to try and do it in that like February time frame, because you can fly over Oak Creek and you can get a pretty good idea of what the population's looking like. You can fly over Oak Creek, you can fly over Joe Watt, you can like check all those like low country areas when those elk are going to be out in the open. That makes total sense. And so look at what happened when they did they conducted their survey February 10th through the 15th. We got tags added the next year.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. That's hilarious. Yeah. And then, 2013 to 2016 surveys occurred on April 5th.
So right after that is when the tags started to decrease.
Let's see what this says. This is February of 2025. WDF will be conducting elk surveys on the Yakima herd by aircraft February 10th to the 15th. This will include the areas south of Interstate 90 to Cowiche. If you notice low flying aircraft, this is work. So this is just because social media, and this is the
Oh
life
yeah.
of social media now that we get cool posts like this
Hmm.
indicating when the dates were. But back here we have it says April 5th, which you're going to get completely different data.
Yeah, I mean that makes it so much harder to figure out what the big herd counts are going to be because those elk by April 5th, they've already been pushed around by early shed hunters that are in areas. They've been pushed back up into the timber. Those bulls, they've been following that snow melting off as they've just like been working their way back up through the timber. And you're going to fly a helicopter over, you're definitely not going to catch the amount of elk that you would when you fly in February. And so that makes it really, really challenging for those biologists. Like, who knows, like, who sets those dates, whether it's biologists or just, I don't know, but that would make it very, very difficult. So 2023 surveys occurred in the typical March window, which is different than early February, early to mid February. And then it doesn't tell us 22, 21. All it says is that they were completed in early spring, which, okay, so
Late
22,
March.
here's a prime example, because in 2022 to 2023 and 2024, that's when we started to see those tags drop down into the single digits, right? 2022 completed in early spring. Results indicated the population was approximately 29% below its objective midpoint. If you're doing that in early spring,
Spring is March 21st,
yeah,
2020.
there's a reason why that number is going to look so much further below. Just as like we're talking about, is you're not going to be able to catch them out in the wide open where you can get a real accurate count.
Exactly.
Those elk are going to be into timber. They're going to be way up high already. Like, they're going to be very spread out because those bulls are going to leave the winter grounds and start heading back up with the snow levels.
2021 says completed in the early months of the year, the elk herd was roughly 7% below objective.
Yeah.
So you went from 7 to 29% in 1 year. And then surveys in 2023 occurred in the typical March window. 2015 and 16, early April.
Yeah. Late March to early April. April 5th in 2012.
Jeez, dude.
Which is wild. But I mean, maybe that's when they started to get that data and they compiled data for like, a few years of surveys and they went, oh man, we're way below objective. We need to start cutting tags.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that just continued and continued and continued until this last year, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it looks like you said, it's a good point that we had a good survey in spring and we had or in winter, February 10th to the 15th, biologists surveyed the areas. So that's a great time to be surveying, and we had an increase in text, and they
Mm-hmm.
realized that we are not below management objective anymore, like it said in 2022. So obviously our herd is making an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
We've had three very light winters in a row. And this year might be the lightest in probably a decade. I think I can't remember if it was 15 or 16 when Jane and I were shed hunting way up at 6,000 feet. I want to say it was spring of 15.
Yeah, because it was the year before you drew that
Yes.
you went up there and found sheds.
And then I hung cameras and stuff like that. So yeah, it was 15. So the winter of 14, 15 was very, very mild. And that's why elk were probably, if they surveyed in April, like they're saying, it's pretty skewed. If you're surveying the winter range in April,
Well, and especially like you said, if they have the same flight patterns, if they're doing the same flight pattern in April that they do in February, you're going to see vastly different numbers.
absolutely.
Like, if you're going to fly in April, you better be flying way higher. You better be going into flying very different places than where you would fly February 10th through the 15th. Like, those you to get a true count of these animals, which is the goal of these surveys, you got to fly where the animals are when they're there. like
Exactly.
it's a pretty easy, like, common sense thing to say. Sounds dumb to say it out loud, but that's what it is.
100%, man. This is the message that I was talking about earlier. If you can see this, this is a snowpack chart from 91 to 2020. And obviously, you have different snowpack length depths from year to year. And this was a buddy, Grayson. We met him on a spring bear hunt. And you can look at the bumping snowtail station, and you can see the variations of snowpack through year to year. And if you're surveying at different times of the year or different months from year to year, you're going to be getting different elk data depending on that snowpack.
Yeah, if you fly, if you're going to fly 10 through 15 of February and then, oh, I'm going to fly at 6,000 feet. I didn't see any elk. It was the weirdest thing. Our herds must be way down, and it's the same thing if you're going to fly in April and then you're going to fly down around Oak Creek and you're going to go, there's no elk down here anymore.
Exactly.
Or, well, fucking duh.
Yeah. I can't put this chain of messages on the screen here because Grayson and I were being very nice to these people.
Yeah.
He did say they fly the same elevation band to count elk regardless of snowpack. 2015, when the population plummeted, like me and Janie talked about, we were way up high. With 2015, when the population plummeted, the snowpack was very low. When it boomed in 2020, the snowpack was high. So that makes sense. If your aerial surveys are at 3,000 from year after year after year after year, you're going to get skews of elk movement because of snowpack.
Yep.
When there's a very light winter, it's going to be like, oh my God, our elk herd is gone. Where are they all at?
Yep.
They're just up fucking higher, morons. They're strong. They're spread amongst the landscape. And then in 2021, you have that detrimental Wyoming winter that killed all the antelope and the mule deer in H and G, also affected us here in Washington. You have that winter. There's going to be a shitload of elk, and all of a sudden, oh my God, wait a second, is that when we had that sharp? Look at that, Zach.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
We had a major drop from 15 to 17.
Yep.
Because of aerial surveys.
Yep.
And 2021 to 2022, magically we have 3,000 elk on the landscape.
3,000 more.
Yeah.
3,000 more.
And that was the worst winter in probably a couple decades here.
Yep. So it makes sense. All those elk were way down low, very easy to see.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is just interesting stuff to look at. It's fun to talk with your buddies and piece this together. This is all public knowledge. Again, if we're not looking at the exact data, I just pulled up you guys have been seeing what I've been doing. I've been trying to chat and try to get using AI to get the recent herds and data trends of the herd and the differences. But you guys can do this all yourself. You can pull up different regulations and kind of go over these numbers. It was just fun to talk about in the group chat. And then Zach got a good idea. Is like, hey, let's just mic up and hit the red button. Like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But there it is. That's kind of what we wanted to talk about. This is the numbers 2016 when I drew the Yakima herd, 134 in peaches, and last year in 2025 we had 6. And if you look at the data of the chart, the graph here, in 2016 there was about 9,500 elk in the Yakima herd, and last year in 2025 there's about 10,000.
Yep.
So you had an increase in elk population, but a decrease in tags about 95%.
Make it make sense, man. As Bob said in the group chat, the math ain't mathin'.
Yeah. Let me say this again, guys. In 2016, there was an estimated herd of 9,500 animals on the landscape. In that, 134 tags, permits for Peaches Ridge. In 2025, there is an estimation of 10,000 elk. That's 500 more in 10 years. But 6 tags in Peaches Ridge, from 134 to 6. And in those 10 years, we had 500 estimated more elk on the landscape. So you have more elk and 128 less tags.
Mm-hmm. Scary, huh? You tell me that it's not that there's not some ulterior motives as to what those numbers were. But like we said, it's a step in the right direction from 2025 to 2026. This is
Yep.
not all doom and gloom right now.
Yep.
We are seeing tag increases this year. We have to, like Jeff said earlier, I'm the half full guy. Jeff's still over there being depressed, thinking about this.
And it's good to have you on the other end because you do have to stay positive. What good does it do to kick and scream and just wallow in self pity? But man, it is really really hard to look at these and try to make it make sense. But you can't. We're not changing it. Zach and I's
Mm-hmm.
podcast isn't going to change bio, and we're not going to get 100 more tags this year. It's just we gotta. I don't know what we got to do. It maybe talk about this more publicly, maybe show it more and say, hey, bios, can we get some more information? Is there something that we're missing? Is there a piece of the pie that we're not seeing other than the clear data trends of the herd population and then what we get to see in our regs every year? Is there some unforeseen things that we don't know about? Is there tribal issues with the tribal takes? We don't know. I don't know what the tribes are taking, but if the elk herd is doing fine, when it looks like it's trending back up, can't blame the tribes if that, because I remember the last podcast we did in the Yakima Elk Herd, I was notified that the Yakima tribe does not have to report their take to the state of Washington Fish and Wildlife
Mm-hmm.
Biologist. So on one hand, I don't know how we can manage a herd properly if we don't know how many animals are being taken. The other one is we have a predator issue. I don't know exactly how bad the wolf situation is down there. I can speak on cats a little bit. We saw a couple cat kills while we've been shed hunting Zach in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen wolves in goose or peaches. I've never heard about them down there. I'm sure they're there. Don't
Oh, I've heard about them for sure.
I haven't. I don't know
Yeah.
of anything that I've heard about them. But you spend a little bit more time. You're just down there more.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. I'm sure there's a predator problem in there. We don't have spring bear hunting anymore. Cats are hard to hunt. We can't hound hunt them. I'm sure there's a lot of different issues in there. But I would just love to hear a biologist talk about our Yakima elk herd. I would love it.
Well, yeah, and I am sure, I'm positive that there's more to this whole equation than just a simple population trend map and tag numbers. Like there's so many variables and so many factors to take into this. Like you said, like the tribal take, trying to, estimate whatever that is, the predator predation issues, roadkill issues, what's the habitat, what's the feed look like on the landscape, how many animals can it support, water situations. Just there's so much that plays into like actual wildlife management and the biology behind
Yeah.
wildlife and keeping it on the landscape in a healthy way. But what we do have access to are these simple numbers. We can go in and pull up harvest statistics, which no one really likes to. People forget to all the time, but it is a important tool to be going in and submitting your harvest reports every year, because that is a massive tool that gets used for populations, for hunting seasons, for tag allocations. That's a big data point for our biologists to utilize. I get it. You don't like to share like the unit that you killed your animal in. It's a little bit of a tinfoil thing if you're thinking that the biologists really give a shit that Jeff Roberts killed a 3-point in whatever unit. Like it, it it's part of the game now that our information that we can put out there is a massive data point that they can then utilize. And what we've seen with the commission is that they will also use it against us when we aren't submitting those harvest reports.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but yeah, like you said, I mean, at breaking it down in like a very simple way, when we look at this, I can't come to any other conclusion other than like I'm glad that they added tags this year. It's overdue, frankly, but like we said, it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully, aerial surveys, hunter harvest report numbers, yada, 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 all support yet another step up next year. Because, back when we drew archery, quality archery tags, for the most part, most tags were, 6, 7, 8 year point or 8 year tags,
Yeah, man.
not a once in a lifetime or once every 20 years.
I mean, dude, like if you go to last year, dude, and just look at Goose, two tags.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that sustains, Zach and I would probably never draw quality again.
Yeah, and it's 2 tags over 2 units. So really, you could
Yeah.
almost break it down to 1 tag a unit. You could give 1 tag to bumping and 1 to the Nile.
It just doesn't like, and just saying that out loud, man. Just like you want one guy per unit with
Yeah,
an opportunity to kill a bull, and
yeah.
the guy that draws is probably 75 because he's got 30 points. Like that guy's not going to be effective. It's just like if you really break it down, it's just like that tells me they didn't want a single bull taken. There was probably more fucking bulls killed last year by cars than there were hunters.
Oh,
Without
yeah.
question.
Yeah, without
It,
question.
it's crazy, dude.
Yep.
Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And,
Yep.
and I would love to like we said, I'd love to talk with a biologist and just learn more. But
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
let's go. I think we can get off the elk stuff. Well, actually, let's look at some of the
bull
we
tags.
didn't yeah, the bull tags, and then let's see what they did with cow tags this year too.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's always a hot button
Yeah.
one.
Antlerless. No
You
red.
skip bull.
I know. I was just jumping to it.
Oh,
Okay, here we
okay.
go. Here we go. Here we go. Bull. This must not be the good one. Where is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that was him. I missed
Yeah.
him.
You can go up one, and there's still more. I just didn't see anything that was
This isn't.
changed.
This isn't. They continued. This is it.
Oh, so the last one must have been bull or quality continued. So yeah, there's your Eastern firearm.
Let me
Uh,
pull up Lasher. Yeah, let me go to 25. Maybe did I get rid of it? I don't think I did.
2025 right there. Go up one.
17. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, for people who are just listening to this, we're pulling up, regulations on the screen and kind of going over them. So you kind of got to bear with us while we scroll and look and this and that and
Yeah.
dodge, dip and dive and whatever else.
All right. Peaches Ridge 2025 had 14 tags. Peaches Ridge 2026, 59.
And yeah, this is the bull firearm. So the October 19 through November 1 is what this season is.
Yep. So Eastern Firearm, Yakima Elk Herd again. We went from 14 to 59.
Yeah, that's a
And
big
then,
jump.
yeah, that's a good one. And then
Observatory
went from
12 to
12.
55.
Dude.
Oh, the next one's crazy. Goose Prairie again was like, for whatever reason, they really hammered Goose Prairie hard.
Yeah.
Goose Prairie was all the way down to 5 last year. They've jumped it all the way up to 41. 36 new tags for that.
That's crazy. Yeah, let's see something even crazier. I don't know if I want to. I don't think I've ever looked at this.
To look back at what is this 2017 bull tags, 106 in Goose Prairie, and so we're getting close to those. We're at least almost at the halfway point.
The bull's not nearly as bad as the quality.
Yep, it was when it was down to 5 last year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but at least it's jumping back way quicker. I mean, shit, the Peaches Ridge jumped by 45 tags.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
that's a massive jump. And then
this is rifle.
Yeah, and then Bethel from 9 all the way up to 44.
Yep, that's big.
Rimrock 23 to 68. Cowiche 6 to 27.
Yeah, dude.
So those are all like really good increases that I think everyone should look at that and I mean, I don't know. I want to know who's kind of behind the pushing this before I start applauding people. But whoever is behind the push for these tag increases needs a big pat on the back and a big round of applause by all the hunters out there.
Absolutely, man. Obviously, there's somebody fighting for it, and you are appreciated, good sir or ma'am.
Yep.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's good to see. I'd like to see another solid increase next year, 27, 28, just moving forward. I'd love to see the Yakima Elk Herd maintain. I would love to see it
Mm-hmm.
grow and be fruitful again. Elk are very hardy. Elk are way more tough than, or way tougher than just mule deer in general. So I feel like it's these light winters are definitely going to help, but I think that the calving and the calf recruitment is got to be one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And if the predators are out of control, then that needs to be managed pronto. But I can't imagine that the winters are what's really damaging these elk. We know that like Wyoming has much worse winters. Colorado have much worse winters, and elk are doing fine. Like,
Yeah. It's
we got to get a handle on this.
yeah, it's more predation than anything else, I think.
Sure.
Let's go down to some cow hunts real quick just to check what those numbers look like. Everything's the same on that page from last year. Keep
This
going
isn't any
down.
of the. Yeah, that's none of the Yakima.
Yeah.
Oh, here
So,
we go. Here's some
so
red.
yep. So get down to the other one.
Oh boy,
Oh,
increasing.
so the Tanium, however you pronounce it, Tanium went from 25 antlerless permits last year to 230. Holy Toledo. No, I read that wrong.
180.
Yeah, 180. I read Tianaway 25. My
Oh,
bad, everyone. But still, 50 tag increase. 180 to 230.
yep,
Menashtash 130 to 170.
yep.
Umtanum 125 to 160. Little Natchez 125 to 160. Bumping 10 to 15.
Nile.
Yeah, Nile 10 to 15.
Pumping 15 to 20.
15 to 20 for bumping. Bethel 10 to 15. Rimrock 145 to 190.
Yeah.
Cowiche 80 to 105. So again, tag
Possible.
increase across the board, which I have different feelings when it comes to the antlerless tags.
Me too, man.
Uh,
Me-
I think
Helps
that
control the population.
exactly.
If you really wanted to manage the herd, I would have kept the cows the same numbers
Yep.
and increase bulls and not touch the cows. Like
Yep.
increasing the cows by across the board is telling you and telling us the herd is fine.
Yep.
Herd
There's
is
a lot of
adequate
elk.
or above objective. If you're willing to, because let's just call that 2 elk per cow, because that's what you're taking out of next year's population. Possibly you're taking out 2 per tag. So
Mm,
if you have 100 tags, you're okay with using 200 cows.
yeah.
That's what it is. That cow can produce it probably will have a calf in her belly this September.
Yeah. Come October.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's it's
Yeah.
crazy to me. If we're kicking and screaming about fucking or elk herd, but we're increasing cow tags. Huh?
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like you said, I would rather see them because we've had cow tag increases in the past, and they said that their reason for that was that's how they wanted to get the bull to cow ratio better. They wanted to kill off cows to increase the bull to cow ratio rather than just put more elk on the landscape, which didn't make sense to me. But what I'd like to see, if they're saying that the elk herds are in a better spot, I'd rather see them. Why increase everything across the board? Because then you're not going to have the ability to say this is what worked, this is what didn't. If you increase bull tags this year and you leave cow tags the same, and you then have a difference of data, going into next year, and you go, hey, like this increasing bull tags did not hurt our elk herds. And then the next year you increase cow tags, leave bull tags alone. And then
Yeah.
you go, oh shit, increasing cow tags hurts our overall elk herd. That's the one that we need to find the sweet spot and keep it there.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have this wide swath where bull tags and cow tags are increased across the landscape. You're not going to be able to hone in on what caused a
The needle
potential population spike or decrease.
Yeah, 100%, man. And maybe that's a way they're going to increase it. Numbers are going to plummet. They're going to go, look, we have to take away elk tags again. Look what we.
Yeah. Yeah, and most likely they'll take away bull tags before they take away cow tags.
Exactly. Yeah, because cow tags are what the majority of people are successful on, and they want to go shoot their cow and get their cow meat. They don't really. Yeah, it's
don't get me wrong, it's awesome.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something to think about. So again, like when you guys are looking through these regs, like just because you see tags increasing everywhere or tags decreasing everywhere doesn't necessarily mean that area is booming or not. Like you kind of need to play into that. And then also when it comes to actual application strategy, if you see a giant increase in tags, I would venture to guess that you will also see a increase in applications.
Oh yeah.
Because most people are going to look at that and go, oh, fuck, there's 230 cow tags there now. I don't know anything about that unit, but that's got the most cow tags available, Bob. So I'm going to apply for that unit.
That is the one he drew too. Oh, Bobby. Oh, what is my best chance to kill a cow? Here we go. There it is. Apply for that one.
Yeah.
Holy catfish, Bob.
But yeah, I mean, you kind of got to start looking at it and playing that game a little bit, is like, okay, where do I now expect everyone else to put their application in? Their first choice is going to be here. So now that point creep is going to increase on that unit where it might not increase on a different unit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%, man. It might jump when you see those numbers go up and they're like, oh, I have better chances there. A lot of people are going to apply. It's going to increase the application numbers, decrease your odds. So yeah, got to think about that too. But yeah, dude, there's a lot of change here. Oh, they added the alkali back. Or
yeah, for elk. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that's one that I would be nervous about just because of how it got taken away last year.
Yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt. I mean, that thing it got crossed off and taken away completely last year. Oh, look at that. Go back up. Look at the archery tags. Another 130, 180, 230 archery cow tags.
Oh, yeah. So went up from 100 across the board.
100, 140, 175.
180. So yeah, they went up 5 tags in Untainum. And then Nile early. Oh, there was no Nile early this year.
No, Tandem went up to 230.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, so they're in different orders this year. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, because tags got, added and taken away and shit. So they're going to be a little bit off.
Nile early went from 30 to 40.
Yep.
Nile late went from 30 to 40.
Yep.
Cowiche went from 100 to 130.
Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of tag increases across the board when it comes to elk in that Yakima herd.
Yeah, dude.
There's Eastern muzzleloader right there coming up.
Yep.
So again, like Eastern muzzleloader, right there, you're seeing Tandem went up from 100 to 130, 100 to 130, 85 to 110. You're getting
bumping from 10 to 15.
Yep. So similar increases across all 3 weapons is what that's showing you right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go look at the quality muzzleloader really quick to see what those did. Eastern muzzle. There we are.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to leave the muzzy guys out.
Yeah, they're gonna scream at me. So Goose went from 1 to 6.
Yep. Observatory was 6 to 27. So that's your biggest jump on the muzzy side.
Yep.
And then 4 to 17 for peaches.
Yep. There you go.
Wow.
Rimrock was 4. It's at 13. Bethel was at 2. It's at 13. Cowiche was at 10. It was at 2. It's at 17.
Oh, so that's another pretty big jump.
That's a big jump as well.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. I mean, all three weapons, quality, bull, and cow tags going up across the board in the Yakima herd.
Awesome.
So I mean, it's great to see. There's going to be a lot more opportunity for folks to actually start drawing those tags. A lot more opportunity for folks to get out there chasing elk around, which is going to be awesome. And just hope that we continue to see what, even if this kind of levels off for a year or two, and then like give it a little bit so they can get some data in. Like I'm happy with any increase that we get and any added opportunity. That's what this is all about. And just really happy to see some numbers start to change because, yeah, the last few years it's been very doom and gloom and terrible.
It has been, man. It's been sad. Yeah, they added
Yep.
alkali, whatever you want to call it, A and B back to muzzleloader elk too. 5 tags got
Mm.
added.
Yeah, interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah, that's one that it's a little bit dangerous, but it's definitely an
Yeah,
option for a lot of folks.
yeah. Let's go check a look. Let's go take a look at something that's near and dear to our heart. I want to make sure nothing crazy. Let's go look at the
Well,
bears.
there's the goats right there.
Okay, here we go. Mountain goats.
We have 7 mountain goat tags statewide now. So good fucking luck to anyone wanting to draw a mountain goat tag in Washington.
Oh, that's a clip right there, buddy. Clip right there. Wow.
One tag in Natchez Pass, one tag in the Goat Rocks West, one tag in the Goat Rocks East, 2 in the Mount Margaret, and 2 on St. Helens South.
Nothing on Baker.
No, not a thing. So those tags didn't change because they're not red. So that's the same number of tags for those units from last year. We just lost units from last year.
Yep. Bighorn sheep.
Ooh, we got a new one. Sela Butte, 2 permits. That's a new tag.
Beautiful.
So that's cool to see.
Oh, that is cool. I
The
can't. What is
rest,
the difference between Sela and Clement? I wonder if Sela is that like the Canyon Road. I wonder if that's that group of rams or your
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure if you go to the actual bighorn
Clemens
sheep,
are like right fucking next to each other.
yeah, Sela's further south, I believe. But yeah, if you go to the bighorn sheep map, it'll show you where that Sela Butte sheep unit 4 is in comparison to unit
I think Sela is
7.
just like basically directly northeast of Clement, maybe just straight east. But yeah, anyways,
Mm.
pretty cool. Oh yeah, Clement Mountain got a new tag for
Juvenile ram.
juvenile rams. Youth got a new tag, Swakane.
Yep, for
Adult
you.
two. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Cougars, no changes here.
No, not yet, which is sad.
Yep. 218, 231 cap. So some of the Met Howard units, 224, Kappa 3 cats.
And that the frustrating part of that is that quota includes roadkill and conflict kills. So like if a rancher, has a problem with a cat coming down killing their chickens or their goats or whatever the fuck, and they report it to WDFW, WDFW comes out, kills that cat, it counts against the hunter's quota, even though hunters didn't kill it.
Pretty stupid.
Really dumb. That
Fall
was
black
a big
bear.
topic in the coalition podcast with them. No change from last year.
No change. So August 15th opener, one bear in the Okanagan. And then you got all of your Western stuff still open on August 1. And then the other August 15th opener is the Willapa Hills.
Yep. And also only one.
And also only one. So,
Yep. So that's Southwest Washington and kind of your north central Cascade Washington are the AUG 15 and only one bear in those areas. So if you kill your one there, you got to start looking elsewhere to fill that second bear tag.
yeah.
Yeah, at least they didn't change it from last year.
Yeah.
That
I'm
they
happy.
tried to sneak that in, but it got nixed, so that's
Yeah.
good.
I'm not too bent out of shape about that. What else should we look in? That's pretty much it. We should go look at see if anything of the moose. No red on the moose. Okay, unchanged.
Yep.
Nothing different on the moose.
This is my year, man.
I freaking hope so, bud. How cool would that be?
It would be very cool.
Disabilities 65. I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah, at least all the big kind of bulk stuff, we can't spend the whole, a whole bunch of time on all the youth opportunity, all the master hunter, all the disabled hunter, antlerless deer, second deer. We can't go through everything. That's, we can't do it all for you folks.
Yeah,
We
sure.
can help you out some, but can't do everything.
That's basically it. We covered a bunch of it. Cover the big important stuff, and there's a ton of stuff to go over in the regulations, guys. If you want to go check it out on your own, I highly recommend it. What I like to do is pull up my regulations and then my applications, and I kind of just dual screen it, just like Zach and I did today. Put them side by side and just go through opportunity, whatever you guys want. I do say make sure you are educated in the unit you are applying for. If you end up applying and getting a unit, the last thing you want to be doing is scrambling through the off season, trying to learn your unit. If you have any type of education in a unit, you should probably apply for those tags. Just like Bob. Bob drew a cow tag. Use him as an example. God bless him. Bob drew a cow tag. He had never stepped foot in, reached out for some help, and then just ended up not hunting it because he wasn't familiar with it, didn't have a ton of time, and just didn't and ate the tag. So it's something like that. Zach hunted a Western Washington bull tag a couple years ago, applied for one, and ended up getting what your third or fourth choice,
Yeah.
third or
Yep.
fourth choice, and it wasn't a great hunt. But that's just what we do in Washington is we just tend to apply for it so we can get a tag, right? And then if you end up like that, you just got to do a lot of research. It's a lot of groundwork on you and try to figure it out. And then you just don't know if the hunt's awesome. Uh,
Hmm.
and sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes you end up drawing something that maybe you wish you didn't dump your points on. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're looking at these and you're going over and you just see like, oh, there's 400 tags available here. Let me apply for that. And then come to find out it has very little public land or something crazy, right? Maybe that's it. They want a bunch of animals taken out of there. They want you to go knock on doors, whatever it might be. I'm just saying maybe do a little bit of research. Don't just look at this. There's going to be reasons why things are in are categorized in different areas and why there's tags allowed in certain areas. So just be careful. Like that new sheep one, make sure you do a little bit of research on there before you dump your points into that new sheep unit. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, just do some research. WDFW.com. And then click on the Washington Big Game Hunting Regulations 2026 and hit download pamphlet, and you can do exactly what Zach and I did here today.
Yeah. I think teeing off kind of what Jeff said is, apply for units that you feel pretty comfortable with, whether you've stepped foot in them or not. If you haven't been there, I would say you should be applying for those units only because you know that if you draw, you have time to go scout.
Yeah.
If you, if you apply for a unit and it's, you're a Southwest Washington guy and you happen to draw the northeast corner and it's an 8-hour, 9-hour drive to go there and you've never fucking been there before, like you're taking that tag away from someone that probably knows that unit and would hunt it really, really well. And you're not going to go scout it. You're just going to go over there and you're going to wing it, or you're going to do exactly what we said before. And you're just like going to be like, nah, I'll hunt close to home. Screw it. And that's
I did
just,
the same thing that Zach did with that bull tag on a second deer tag once. I
yep.
applied because I was like, oh man, there's 100 tags here. I'm going to do it. We get over there and it's a shitload of private land. You have to get permits from the logging company, and one of the offices was closed because it's a weekend. I couldn't get the access to it. And then I'm like, Zach, we just got to pick a spot and hopefully there's a deer. And I ended up getting lucky. That's all
Yeah.
that happened is I got shithouse lucky. Shouldn't have applied for that unit. It was, like you said, it was 5 hours away. I wanted to go shoot a white-tailed doe. And I was like, man, it was horrible, guys. Just
Steven with his spring bear tag.
even with a spring bear tag, good buddy of mine. We applied for the spring bear unit, 6-hour drive. Never been to it before. It's all timber company. Horrible time. It was just yeah. So we've been there. So we're telling you this out of actual experience when you're applying for things. slow down and make sure you're just applying for things that, like Zach said, you have time to scout. You have buddies that are dedicated to go scout with you, hang cameras, whatever it might be, and then that you're comfortable. If you have a tag in your pocket, you're going to do everything possible to be successful. You don't want to just apply, and then get hit, and then you're that guy on Facebook going, "Anybody have any information on this unit?" Because
And where do I go?
we've all been there. Zach and
Yeah.
I on Zach's cow elk tag. Guys in a bar helped us out. It just
hmm
happens, right? Like you can always reach out to people, like ask people, but just make sure that you're ready to go put in groundwork for yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just be ready to scout, be ready to, whether it's, someone that's drawn that tag before. So like you got someone that can give you some pointers. Like it doesn't have to be that it's like your home unit. Like don't be afraid to stretch out and get out there and experience some new country,
Yeah.
experience some new places, but go into it with a plan, go into it like knowing like, okay, I know that Jeff has hunted this before, so I have someone I can reach out to get some pointers. Like with my cow tag a couple years ago, I knew that Colin knew areas in that unit. So
Yep.
like that was what like I did, and it was like, okay, cool. I've never hunted it, but I have a good buddy who has. He knows spots. I know other people that have hunted it. We got some spots, we got some help. Like
Yep.
that's what those special permits are for. People are more likely and more willing to help you when you have a special permit than when you just are looking for an over the counter place. But still, like, don't only bank and count on that. Be ready to go hunt hard, be ready to go scout it, and kind of at least do a little bit of research into that unit before you dump your application in there. Because I learned the hard way with my bull elk tag.
Yeah.
I applied for 3 units. They were all three in the same general spot, like right, all the units touched each other. I knew for a fact that my top 2 units were good units. I knew that. I've seen elk in there. I've been in there, blah, blah, blah. The third unit, I'd never been in there, but I was like, it's fucking close. Like, it's got to be just as good. It's got to be the same. And I ended up drawing my third choice with 18 points, 18 years of applying. And I saw elk one day of my entire hunt. It was the last day of my entire hunt. And I was in there scouting multiple times throughout the summer, had cameras from top to bottom of that
Literally.
unit,
Yep.
and it was still terrible. So, like, if I could redo that, I would have only applied for 2 and not just filled out all the options because you have that ability.
Exactly. That's that bait, man. And honestly, guys, sometimes you just don't know until you draw. And unfortunately, Washington takes a lot of points to draw. And when you do draw, it's like, man, I wish I knew now what I knew then type of thing. And then back to, like, let's just say quality deer. If your home unit is Peregrine or whatever you want to call it, whatever unit, Entiat, desert, whatever, and then you hunt it in modern season, guess what? It's a lot different November 15th. You might
Mm-hmm.
need a damn snowmobile to get places. You might need chains on all four. You might not have any place to camp because the campgrounds are closed. Roads are. Just take all that into consideration when you guys are applying. That's all we're saying. Be
Yeah.
careful with your applications. Maybe don't fill out all four if you don't have to fill out all four, and just be ready to do a lot of groundwork and research when you end up drawing.
Yeah, I actually really like that they limit the quality applications to 2 units.
Me too, man.
Like, I think that's really, really smart. And I think most people out there can be pretty knowledgeable with 2 units, but when you stretch it out into 3 and 4, you're
Yeah.
spreading yourself really thin. And so
Yeah.
that's something to think about. Like, you don't want to learn like I did, where I lost 18 years of points just because I was like, oh, I'll draw that tag. It'll be fine. It's up there, like whatever. Now looking back, I would have rather waited another year or two and drawn the tags that I actually really wanted.
Oh, totally, man. And look at the upward trend now that we're in here. You would have
Mm-hmm.
definitely, if you wanted to, you could have drawn one of the Yakima herd if that's what you wanted. Like, just if you
Mm-hmm.
would have waited and didn't force the third choice and fourth choice or whatever, you could have, like you said, waited and drawn in a couple years. But hey, dude, like, no harm, no foul. You wanted to go hunt. We had a great time. It was an awesome area. Never been down there. It's incredible to just be there hunting. A lot of
Yeah.
history in those units and around the Helens area. It's just, yeah, man, it wasn't a great hunt. And hey, guess what? That happens onward and upward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things you look back and you go, oh man, I would have done this different,
Totally.
and that's just like, hey, we lived and learned. And so we're trying to tell all of you guys that are listening and watching this, like, hey, we've lived and learned this. So kind of if you can learn from our mistakes and learn from things that we've failed on or messed up or what we would do differently, like, hey man, like we want to help. And that's why we talk about this stuff.
Absolutely. Yep. Yes, sir. Okay, dude. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think we kind of covered it. Tag or cost increases across the board. Everything's fucking expensive. A lot of elk increases in the Yakima herd across all weapons, across all categories. So that's
Yeah.
exciting. There's going to be a lot more people out with special permits in their pockets this year.
Really cool, man.
Um, yeah, it is a step in the right direction. That's what I have to keep coming back to. Like
Totally, man.
we have to think about it that way.
Yeah, and I think it's an absolute W for hunters, because I'm sure there's a lot of happy hunters that are ready to go hunt those Yakima herds, and I'm sure the Woodshed and Gold Creek and Whistling Jacks are really happy because that's just money. That's scouting trips, that's gas, that's food, that's hotels. I mean, there's so much to be proud of, and when hunting season brings a lot of money and traffic to these areas and these little rural communities that are just tucked in. Like, I mean, they're all over Eastern Washington, dude. I mean, even Western Washington, there's little towns I'm sure that thrive on hunting seasons. And like when you roll into, over in Eastern Washington and during modern, there's welcome hunter signs and hotels are packed. Like in Idaho last year, man, like that
Hmm.
freaking hotel was packed when we rolled in there. It's just cool to see, and that's kind of what you're taking away from all these places when you're depleting the permits like this. And then all of a sudden we have 60 permits back from six. I mean, dude, there's a lot more hunters, like you said, a lot more hunters in on the landscape. That's more, more money going into those little towns and mom and pop restaurants for pancakes and cheeseburgers, whatever you call it, man. Like, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting. It's exciting to see that they're listening to data and numbers and the surveys, and hopefully that trend continues in the positive direction as we continue to move forward. So that's really kind of what we wanted to go over with you guys today, is just kind of bringing our group chat into the podcast. So
Yeah, good.
that was what we did for like 3 hours today, talking back and forth.
Yeah, and I think it's just this is one of these like podcasts that I think we haven't had in a while too. Is just PNWild sitting down and chatting about different things that are going on, and we don't always have to have guests. It could just be PNWild guys and just talking about what we want to talk about. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, drop us a comment, leave us a message, and maybe we'll make this a regular thing, just Zach and I hopping on and discussing different topics. We have a lot to discuss in Washington, and as we move forward with draw results coming out, I mean, I got multi-season deer today. Zach definitely didn't, but
Thanks.
oh, you know what else is awesome is that Zach's girlfriend applied for the first time ever, and she got it.
Yeah, and so did her dad.
Zach was super happy, and he's like, "Of course, she got it her first time ever. And
Yeah.
even have a bow." And he was all caps, "No!" So awesome! I'm so jacked for her. She's gonna kill a giant buck. I guarantee it. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, hey, everyone out there's it's drawing season. Results are coming,
Uh,
and everyone's kind of getting happy for the 2026 season. The regs are out. It's time to damn near turn the page and get into scouting and finalize all your applications and wait for that green up. And I guess next step, Zach, is Thunder Chickens. We got next weekend.
yeah, we got turkeys and then hopefully maybe some shed trips in and then maybe a spring bear trip over to Idaho. Like it's all starting to ramp up right now. One thing that we should mention that we didn't earlier,
Yeah.
right there on the cover of the Washington Big Game Regulations, permit application deadline,
Ooh.
May 20th.
Yeah. Nice eye.
So make sure that you guys, you can buy your special permit application, but you have to make sure that you submit it. That is the key. I hear it from someone every year that they buy their permit app, but they forget to submit it. So
Dang.
don't waste your money. Like,
If only there was a YouTube video that shows people how to apply and submit their big game applications.
Yeah, I told someone at the Black Bear Bonanza about this video because he asked me the same thing because he was like a transplant from somewhere and he was like, I don't even know how to get started. And I was like, funny you mentioned that. We have a video that literally walks you through it, man.
We do. Yeah, we have two episodes on YouTube, guys. It was called Start Hunting This Year, How to Hunt Episode 1, and How to Apply for Special Tags in Washington, How to Hunt Episode 2. A couple years ago, I just kind of walked through step by step on how to apply in Washington State, how to get into hunting, and I'm trying to revive that. If I get some time, I'm going to go to Episode 3, and it's kind of scouting and e-scouting, getting into the nitty-gritty and hunting. But those first two episodes are very, very important and detrimental to your success in the field and just kind of getting out into the woods. So go over to our YouTube channel, guys, PNWild, and type in how to hunt PNWild, and you'll get right to those two episodes.
Yeah, they're super informative. So if you know someone, or if you just know someone that's like trying to get into hunting, new to it, your cubicle mate, like over there, that's constantly asking you a bunch of questions about how to hunt, send them that link.
Yep.
Tell them to check it out.
Tell them check it out.
Yeah, it'd be great. And while you're over there on the YouTube channel, make sure that you go and check out the Trailhead Crew. You can subscribe to that for a small monthly fee of $5.99. And you will get access to us with live Q&As every month, where we also do a live giveaway of dope shit every month. Last month, we gave away a Go Hunt Atmosphere jacket in the brand new dirt or black color. The winner got to choose their color. And this month, I'm setting up the Q&A date right now. So that'll be we try and do those towards the end of the month, every month. And then we'll announce what that prize is here shortly and get that out there. But you get access to the live Q&A. You get early access to all the hunt films. We're going to have a special discount code to the PNWild merch store set up for the Trailhead Crew members. And no, it's not going to be something so obvious as Trailhead Crew, so don't try it. I'm on to all of you already, but yeah, that's going to get set up. So we're just trying to do some cool stuff and say thank you and get some feedback from these folks. We take, a lot of feedback from them on what they like to see, what they want to see more of, topics that. What's that?
They have a big influence.
Exactly. They have a big influence on kind of the direction of what we do content wise, what we talk about, what we try to educate people on and things like that. So they're a big, big asset to us here at PNWild. And so the more people that we can get over there to be a part of that Trailhead Crew, the more voices that we have to kind of help guide us into what you guys all want. And that's what is most important to us.
For sure, man. And I think it just kind of goes with saying, like, if you're investing in, if you take that next step and invest in PNWild and kind of support PNWild in that paid monthly subscription, you also have that louder voice, if you will, more influence on different types of things. You have access to privately message us and talk to us and conversate with us, private Q&As. And then also, maybe, I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but possibly, is there a chance that someone from the THC could go on like a fully guided trip with us?
Possibly. That is a really good possibility.
Oh, it's a possibility. Okay. So
like a really, really, really good possibility.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I'm just saying it would be kind of a cool time to be able to just take someone on an awesome trip and show them a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Maybe if we could figure out the details. I mean, that might be too hard. Maybe we'll work that out or something. I don't know.
I mean, if no one wants it, then we won't do it. But if people head over to the Trailhead Crew and tell us that they want that, then we like to listen to those people.
Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward and easy to do. You just click a button that says join Trailhead Crew.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That seems
pretty simple.
Yeah, and then you might be able to go on like a fully guided hunt and maybe win some cool shit, or fully guided, like maybe it's like snow goose or goose or something. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's
fishing trip. You never know.
Yeah. No, that sounds like pretty cool fun time that I don't want to be a part of. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, and look at that on the screen right there. Our members, thank you, channel members, and you pop up right there, and then you can hit that join button.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
So you get kind of get featured on there a little bit too. People know that, hey, you're a part of this thing.
Absolutely, man.
So,
Yeah, it's cool. And it's a little bit of funny jokes right there, but we really truly appreciate all of you Trailhead crew members that have supported us so far. We're trying to
mhm.
grow that community. Zach's brainstorming full time on how to do some cool shit with you guys. He's got some really cool plans. And yes, we are planning on taking one of our Trailhead crew members on an awesome trip that you guys would be really, really stoked on. So head over there, couple bucks a month. You guys support us, and you guys have some really, really cool perks that we're trying to make awesome and enjoyable for you guys. And we also want a lot of stuff we want to gain knowledge from you guys and help us be just a better piece of your guys' hunting arsenal and that kind of stuff too. So it's this very mutual beneficial relationship.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So again, like Jeff said, thank you to everyone who is a Trailhead crew member already. Thank you to all of those that will join in the future, and just thank you to everyone who has supported us in any way, whether that is just subscribing to the channel, being a follower on Instagram, subscribing to the podcast, anything like that, leaving comments on the podcast, hitting the subscribe, download button on those podcasts. All those little things help us out. We provide a lot of content on YouTube and via the podcast that's completely free to you guys. And doing something as small as sharing that little piece of content, subscribing, downloading, that kind of stuff means so much to us and helps us out so much. Using our codes, every little thing stacks up and helps us out massively. So we can't say thank you to you guys enough. Especially me. I'm doing this full time now. I can't say thank you enough.
No kidding. Legitimately. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
All right, guys. Let's wrap this one up, huh?
Do it.
All right. Yep. Sounds good. Thanks everyone for listening. Jeff, thanks for jumping on. I know you've had a very long day of sports and work and everything else, and it's now 10 p.m. So
yeah, time for bed.
You need to go to bed. So
sure do.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Until the next one. Jeff, where will we see him?
On the mountain.
There we go.
Maybe at the Pacific Calls Turkey Rodeo.
Yeah, at the Pacific Calls Turkey Rodeo, April 25th. There we go.
Next Saturday.
Yep.
Oh, shit. That was fun, dude. That was a good.